But we're working on our flow, but I'll tell you what is going to flow today, a brand new format for the show, right, Bigly?
Yeah.
Why don't you talk to us a little bit about the segments we're covering?
Yeah, so we are starting with our segments today. So we're starting with some like happy news, good news.
Yeah, lighthearted news.
Yep, and then we're moving into our, I think, is it funny shit? Yeah, it is. Sorry, I totally blanked. I was like,
funny
wait.
shit on the internet. I'll throw you a bone. I'll help you out.
Thank you.
And then wrapping up with what?
And then we're going into our nerdity warning.
Yes, nerd culture, lighthearted news, funny things, laughs. Good morning starts now, and we're happy to have you on the new BazNBigly morning show. Of course, your platform of choice, live streaming on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, which is where we are today. Let's get started with a countdown, get some chat going, and wake up this morning. Here we go. Yes, it feels a little bit, every time we do this, I feel like we're streaming more and more, or we're streaming more and more. Every time we do this, I feel like we're kind of getting it more and more.
Yeah.
Right? Hopefully this is working well. Don't need that. Are you hearing things back through the monitor?
I can hear things, but I don't see us live.
I got that impression. You pointed that out to me several times. Thank you very much for the heads up.
You're welcome.
Let's get some music going. There we go. Yes. Of course, there's an error. Why not? Gang, we're gonna call it do-over. We're gonna do it over again, I think. Hold on, let me see here. Yeah, this is weird.
Oh, I know. On Twitch, it's fine. No problems.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, Scar Shack. Exactly. It's the Facebook stream that's having problems today, so it's really unfortunate.
Sure is. Well, it's being a bit of a dick.
It's being a bit of a dick. A wee bit of a dick.
But that's okay. How are you this morning, Scar Shack? Are you doing well? I hope you are. I'm going to say it like that.
You can say it however you want.
I hope you are doing well this fine Friday morning. As I shove in some delicious muffin in my mouth.
Easy. I didn't know what was coming next. Trying to troubleshoot things on the fly here. Let's see how it goes. I did say, actually, we were having some trouble with this yesterday. So I did say I was going to reconnect the Facebook platform.
Yeah.
And I didn't. So this is probably my fault. But that's the world of streaming.
I don't know if it's... Scar Shack, is it still looking okay on your end? I'm just trying to see, because on mine it looks very choppy.
That might be because I'm pulling levers in the background, maybe.
Okay, I got you. But I just wanted to see if it's okay for him.
That's a good consideration.
I know. I'm dumped on in Owen Sound. Oh, yeah, that's pretty far
really?
north. Now we're live.
Yeah, but of course, like, it now removed all of the information. Let's see if we can correct that. Let's see if we can correct that live. Tell me if you see this changing. No.
On Facebook, if I see it changing?
Yeah, tell me if you see this change on Facebook. Hello, gang. We are we're troubleshooting live.
All right, I'm glad
actually.
it is all good there, Scar Shack. That's important.
There
we go. So far, ...
Really, really shitty timing, Cat.
Yeah, Pippin, probably not the best. Well, I'm glad it is working on your end. No problem. That's fine.
Yes.
I know you probably, those of you know, obviously when things don't go, when we're running things, it can be frustrating. Hit your mark. Hey, what's up? Good morning.
Indeed.
Brad's just trying to do a little live troubleshooting. We're having a couple of little issues, but nothing too big. But like I said, he's not going to get upset. He's not going to get sad.
Of course not.
He's going to let it
a chill Friday morning. That's not
fly off his back like nothing's bothering him at all.
Fly off my back.
That's right. That's what I said.
Like duck flying off a water's back.
Yeah, just like that, Brad. Like a
Did
duck.
the title change? You should see the title change on Facebook now in the category. I don't know, though. Who knows what they're doing? All I know is we're here.
Here we are.
And there's 20 minutes left. Seconds, rather. Seconds and minutes are different. There are 20
minutes left.
10 seconds left on the countdown, but we're gonna buy it back. Polly, what's up? Hit your mark. Good morning. Hello. How are you?
It's Friday day.
Friday day.
It's Friday,
It's
yay.
the day of fries, indeed. Oh, sorry, kitten. With condoms.
I don't
We
know.
have a kitten sighting. Don't sweat it.
I don't know. I don't understand this.
Whatever it is what it is. Whatever it is what it is. Yeah, no, I see it. I see it changed.
Okay. I don't, but I believe you.
Yay.
Whoa. It's pumping irony. You went through a bit of an identity crisis.
Oh,
Wow.
Nice.
I was confused.
Is it in a good way, though? Like the good kind of identity crisis?
Yeah.
The kind that
I hope it wasn't like an identity crisis where it was like existential and...
are you... we in marketing, we call that a rebrand.
All good. Well, Brad, the countdown's gone.
Yeah, good to hear. The countdown is down. Is gone.
Good timing. Maybe timing.
Yep. Countdown's gone.
He's fine.
I said I was buying myself another few minutes.
By saying yep.
I wait. Look, this is what happens when you start streaming. Trust, after doing it for a very long time, when you start out in a new platform, I guarantee you, your first couple of weeks is going to be like, you'll just be like, I just want to have one stream that goes off like the way it's planned, right? We want to have one stream where we kick in, where the lead-in's good and tight, where the go live works as intended, where all the tech works, and it takes about a month before you'll have your first stream that will be the first of many that consistently go according to plan. So if you're interested in streaming, a big part of it is being cool under pressure. And that is an acquired skill. And I still, I work on it all the time.
Unless you're playing video games live.
Yeah, that's right. Rage is a different type of brand. But you know what? Let's not go there. Instead, let's go to the opener for the BazNBigly morning show and get this morning started correct. Here we go. Yes. Good morning starts now. That's not supposed to be up there.
That's a browser.
Get out of here.
Good morning. We'd like to first start off with showing you our browser window.
We're going to do some Google searches. We're going to show you how to do the Google search. Actually, we do have an audience. We do have an audience for that.
Indeed.
Yes, we have a French press.
It's our theme.
In our opener and
I know, right?
in our hands.
And that's what I was saying. I wanted to show
And
that
in
we
our
actually
hands.
use one in the mornings.
Yeah. We practice what we preach. Mm-hmm. No bullshit.
Look at her. I still love our cute little
mugsies. After a frictional start, we are started indeed, and this is your good morning. Hello, and welcome to the BazNBigly Morning Show. I'm Brad, a.k.a. Baz.
And I am Steph Bigley.
And we are going to be bringing to you today some lighthearted news. This is the new format for the show. We're going to continue to add things. We want to bring in some transitions, make it visually appealing. But we have, beyond like just my lovely, I don't even say co-host, hosting partner, show partner. I'm trying, how do I desperately stay out of trouble? It's like tiptoeing through a minefield.
My hosting wife.
My hosting wife. It sounds like weird. I have another kind of wife.
Yeah, that sounds weird too.
That does other things.
Yeah.
But that's not true. It's not true. We have the alerts up here so we can show folks who throw that support at us. By the way, if you haven't done so, please do throw us a follow, a like, whatever you like. Every follower gets a song, so even on the morning show, we're still going to regale you with a custom anthem that heralds your great legacy. So please don't hesitate to interact with us. Share out the stream. If you want to help us get the word out, we greatly appreciate it. But let's talk about this new format. First of all, a little bit of a change in the border, because with the morning show, we wanted to go with this like kind of crystal silver, kind of bright feeling schema, I guess. Schema. In Soviet Russia, wife hosts you. Indeed, Trev. Good morning. How are you? And of course, anyone know if Mercury is in retrograde? Apparently, according to Skarshack, is what.
Does anyone know if Mercury is in retrograde?
Issues. Right.
A lot of people
with the inference that our tech issues are caused by.
Now,
Mercury
I'm not one of those.
Retrograde.
I'm not a person who like believes that has anything to do with shitty things that happen. But I know lots of people who do, and my thing is always, if you're looking for the shitty things or you think shitty things are going to happen because of something, then they will.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's a good general rule, right? Like if you stay optimistic and you're, trying to keep it positive, then I think you're a little bit more in tune to positive things happening around you. Isn't that fair to believe? Wouldn't you agree to that, chat?
I believe
that Satan has a hold of you.
I don't think anyone gets that reference here. Is anyone here right now? Oh, maybe.
It's Book of Mormon.
Maybe hit your mark.
Their misery.
Thank you, Skarshack.
Yes, that is correct. It is. It's Book of Mormon.
Hi, Dina. How are you? Good morning. Yes. Good morning.
Yes. How you feeling today? That is Doina.
I know. I saw yesterday.
You
saw
did.
2 days ago when you were streaming, because I was lurking.
Look at you knowing everything.
See, I knew Hit Your Mark would know.
Yes. Yeah. Hit Your Mark's got it. When it comes to musical theater trivia, there are a few that we know are always on point. But I think there has to be some kind of, or we have to acknowledge some kind of correlation between, like, we know that the moon's gravitational pull, let's say, has a very distinct effect on our planet, which has a distinct effect on our environment, which invariably will affect how humans feel on the planet. It's a bit of a deep cut, but I also wouldn't say, well, there's definitely no relationship there.
That's
right?
Yeah, I agree. Dina, musical theater is life.
Musical theater is life.
I
indeed.
agree.
What's your favorite show, Doina? What's your favorite show, Bigley?
Well, one of mine is the Producers.
Oh,
which I wouldn't say a lot of people would say that as one of their favorites.
Mel Brooks, classic.
That's one of my favorites. And also, like, I'm going to say it for me, but yeah, Hamilton is up there now for me too.
Thank you, Doina, for the like.
Thank you
for helping us get the word out. When you like the stream, follow the stream, share the stream, it all helps us tremendously. So thank you very much, Doina. Much appreciated. Pleasant's in the house. I was going to say, when are we going to see you back in chat, Pleasant? We miss you.
That's true. We
can't chat, but you're here lurking while we're working.
Thank
Perfectly
you.
fine. We know you're here. JCS, Hit Your Mark. Jesus Christ Superstar.
I do love that show. We both love that show.
Yeah.
A little bit of a hard cut right now for me, but it's a great show.
It's funny for me how, like, it's either really well done or really bad.
Yeah.
There's very seldomly any in between.
Yeah.
I like the original, and I really like the stadium tour. You guys remember, like, the Jesus Christ Superstar
the one Tim Minchin
stadium tour with Tim Minchin?
Fucking great.
Yeah.
And the one we
And
saw one in
Sporty Spice was awesome as
Yeah.
Mary Magdalene,
and
too.
we saw it in Stratford, and that was a
Melanie
great production.
B.
Yeah, the one in the one
Mel
in
B.
it's Mel C.
Is she Mel C?
Yeah.
Chisholm. Melanie Chisholm.
Mhm.
Wow. The only thing my old man brain has a memory for are anything that happened in the 90s. That's it. That's like all I can remember these days. Please tell me I'm not alone in that.
Okay. So
Wow. All right. I'll just keep that one to
Yeah.
myself in my corner here.
we've also seen some bad versions of it.
Yeah.
Like we were in a production of it,
Mm.
which it was mostly
That one was
good.
obviously awesome.
It was great,
Mhm.
and there were good aspects of it.
Yeah.
But we've also seen some bad, like community theater productions of it as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's look, we love community
We
theater.
do. We've done.
That's
We
where
do
met
community theater.
most
That's
of-
how
that
we.
is basically our social group.
Yeah.
That's how we met each other.
And it's how we met each other.
But there's a lot of crap out there. Let's just stop. Like, can we please stop pretending that
Yeah.
there's not?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of crap. There's a lot of cut
Yeah.
corners
Let's not pretend it's all
Yeah,
good. It's
yeah,
not.
it's not.
There is a lot of good, but there's also a lot of not good.
That's right. Rent is your classic, doing a very nice. Yes, and Hamilton, of course. Like, Hamilton's got to be up there for me now.
Oh yeah, Hamilton's up there for me now too. I said that. Yeah.
Rent is kind of what I wouldn't say turned me on to music theater, but really got me. It's the first and only show I've ever seen on Broadway. It's a soundtrack that I fell asleep to for like an entire summer of nights. I loved Rent. I love the musical, love the stage show. Hamilton's a big one for me. I think one of my favorites of all time, actually, funnily enough, how we started the show, is Book of Mormon.
Which is
Love
fantastic.
Book of Mormon. Just hilarious.
It's hard to say,
the
like,
music's
what's your
great.
favorite? What's your favorite? But we've seen a
But,
lot of
yeah.
musicals. We know a lot of musicals.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Rent for me, you know my thing with Rent. I'm not a huge Rent fan.
Well, your first introduction to
Yes.
Rent was the
The movie.
Like the Rosario Dawson is awesome, but the movie was hot garbage.
Yeah, and that was my first introduction to it, which was terrible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I like a lot of the songs in it,
Mhm.
but I've never seen. I'm not a huge fan of the like show story.
Okay.
I'm
yeah.
just not.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
yeah,
kind of like a
it's-
terrible.
I mean, if you try to make sense of it, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, it doesn't. Like, I always laugh because it's literally, people joke about it. How it's like, it's literally about a bunch of guys who, like, won't pay rent, and then they don't, and everything's fine.
Yeah, the running joke
Yeah.
about Rent is like how quickly they would have been evicted.
Like, why is Benny an asshole?
Like a very long
Right?
time
It's
ago.
Benny. He's the one who's trying to get the rent. in it.
Kind of, yeah. Like, so Benny was their friend.
Right. But my point being is, Benny's made out to be kind of the asshole in the show.
He's just
All
the
he's
only one who
trying-
got a good
that's what I
job.
mean.
Really.
All
Like,
he's trying to do is get his freaking get the money
Yeah.
because he's a working
just trying
person.
to do
He
his-
works.
He's just trying to do his job, and the rest of them about them protesting having to get jobs. That's basically, that's the long and short of it. Funny story, Scratch Check, I have a Switch Lite and went to play some Breath of the Wild this morning. Nope, Switch was totally dead. Like, not battery dead, but like defunct, you mean? Oh,
No.
no, because Breath of the Wild is an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Bigley's playing through it right now.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, like, okay, this is funny actually. You guys thought I was raging at Ghost of Tsushima last night. You should see Bigley raging at Breath of the Wild. That's the one for you. Breath of the Wild is like the rage trigger. For
Because
stuff.
they're okay, and you know what? Actually, I'm gonna leave it because
she almost
it's something.
she almost dove into rage. just
I
thinking
almost
about it.
dove into my nerdity warning a little bit.
Okay. So we'll come back to that later. Josh, putting your sit to stand desk together. I love the sit to stand desk. Anybody else use like a standing desk out there? Have you ever used a standing desk, and how have you found it has changed things one way or the other? Here, Mark saw it in '96 with Ted Neely and Carl Anderson as Judas and Jesus from the movie. Oh yeah,
Nice.
and they were
That'd be
awesome.
wicked.
Like that.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is-
yeah.
That's my core memory of Jesus Christ Superstar as the original movie.
I loved
which
the
was
movie too.
70s,
It was really
right?
good.
It
Yeah,
was-
yeah.
It was in the '70s.
Yep, I believe so. Or 80s, 70s, 80s.
yeah, was it early
late
80s,
70s,
maybe?
late. Oh,
No, it
yeah,
had to be
late
70s.
70s, early 80s, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, 90s memories are perfectly fine. Thank you for that validation. Did we ever see Stomp? Oh, yeah, it has been a while. I never saw Stomp, but I love the idea
live.
of it.
Yeah.
I grew up in Newfoundland on the East Coast, so I never got the opportunity to see a lot of live, like, big budget or, like, professionally produced theater there. But we watched a lot. Every time I saw Stomp on, like, TV or something, I stopped and watched them stomp. It was great, yeah. It's La Boheme. Yes, La Boheme, indeed. Oh, man. I remember the 2-disc CD set for rent after the Tonys. Hated it, but didn't. You spent nearly $50 on the CDs, so you had to listen to it.
Like I said, there's a lot of the songs.
The soundtrack.
There's a lot of the songs I really like, and I know all the words to them. I'm just not a huge fan of like the show overall. Like if I had to pick a really good show that I love all the songs, I love the story, I love the characters, then that is not it for me. Yeah.
What do you think is the full package? Just a couple off the top of your head.
I said Hamilton. I think Wicked is too. Wicked's not one of my favorite.
Oh, Wicked, yeah, Wicked.
One of my favorite. I love the show. Not my favorite show, but I love that show. I think Producers is great because it's hilarious.
Yep. Yep. Very funny.
Scooter.
That's how we say excuse me now. We're rewriting the English language as we speak. Kazumi, what's up? Hello, Kazumi. Welcome. Good to see you. The battery is dead. Just needs a charge. Phew. Scarshack. At least it just needs to be plugged in.
How did I even excuse
Just keep working. You got a lot of more words to work on, so you got to rewrite a whole language before this show is over. Gamer Mom Luda, hello, friends. Hello and welcome. Happy Friday morning to you. This is your Feel Good Friday morning show, the BazNBigly morning show every Friday. We're glad you guys have joined us today. Please feel free to like and share the stream if you listen to the podcast. Please do give us a subscribe. Your support means the world to us. It really costs nothing but a couple of seconds of your time, and it means so much to us. We're going to continue to work hard to bring these Friday morning good vibes to you. And on that note, we're going to jump into the new structure for the Friday morning show, which starts with lighthearted news. And we even have a little pop-up. There you go.
Oh my
God.
God.
You can follow us on Twitch or Facebook, gaming/BazNBigly, if you want to see the show live. But let's get into lighthearted news. So how we do this is we both pick a couple of topics that we want to cover in the realm of news. Now, we don't go into deep, heavy news. We figure there's lots of places in the world where we can do things like that. Oh my God, Polly just gifted a sub to you on your own channel. Why aren't you subbed to the channel?
It ran out, and I meant to redo. Thanks, Polly.
Thank you, Polly. That's very, very kind of you. Happy Friday, Sila Lurkaway. That is no problem. We're so happy to have you here in any form that you can muster. Absolutely. This thing is built really well. I read that as thirsting, Josh. Thirsting is built really well.
So did I.
Well, I guess thirsting is like well established now. Thank you very much, Polly, for the gifted sub. Congratulations, Steph Bigley, on your gifted sub from Polly.
It doesn't say Steph.
I hope you'll enjoy it.
Bigley.
I hope you'll enjoy your sub to the community. Welcome, Steph Bigley, and thank you for joining the Bigleys.
It says Gina Bigley.
Such an idiot.
It says Gina Bigley.
That's hilarious.
It says Gina Bigley. It doesn't say Steph. Who the fuck is Steph? Who the fuck is Gina Bigley? I don't know.
No one's buying your crap, Bigley. Okay, so let's get into lighthearted news. I'm going to kick off today because there was some really big news in the world of gaming, and I'm going to talk a little bit about gaming more later in the show. But in this case, we have Lucasfilm Games, actually, is what I'm going to focus on. So, oops, hello. I don't know why that happened. There you go. Lucasfilm Games actually just released a sizzle reel. So you might be familiar with Lucasfilm. They are behind a couple of little films like Indiana Jones. There is a trilogy that came out in a galaxy far, far away called Star Wars. Well, they just announced recently last week that they are formally launching Lucasfilm Games, and this is going to be the moniker under which they're going to develop the Star Wars franchise and video games moving forward. This is really good news for a lot of people, and it's exciting because whether you might not know this or maybe you do, but here it goes. Electronic Arts, or EA, held exclusive rights for Star Wars games for a very long time. And they kind of shit the bed, let's be honest. So they really kind of soured gamers on Lucasfilm and the Star Wars franchises for video games with was it Battlefront 2? Star Wars Battlefront 2, they had big problems that came from the microtransaction economy, where basically you paid full price for a game, and then you had to pay more money to unlock all the features of that game. It was brutal. They were totally boycotted. No one would even stream it on Twitch within weeks, and eventually it's practically free to play now, or you'll see it come up for like $5.
Are these all new video games coming out?
No,
are they ones that are already?
This is their sizzle reel. So they if you Google Lucasfilm Games sizzle reel, you'll see all the kinds of IPs that they've bought into in the last little while. Now EA did run a lot of these, and like I said, they were kind of notorious for being not great, and not the games themselves necessarily, but certainly it was there were a lot of problems that stemmed from it. So now they are in a position where they have wrested control of the gaming licenses back from EA, and they're opening them up to more players. Specifically, Ubisoft announced also that they are now working on an open world Star Wars game. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later on, but let's open that up. So Bigly, when we talk about, the Lucasfilm Games now taking command of the IP themselves and opening it up to more game developers, how do you feel about that?
I mean, like, I guess it's good, right? Because it will give other developers a chance to make a game the way that they want to make the game.
Yeah.
Right? And every company makes their game slightly different or better,
yeah,
or worse, depending on like who owns it or who does it.
Mm-hmm. No, fair. Actually, you're exactly right. I mean, not that there's a right and wrong, but that's where my mind goes too, because we see certain developers tend to have specializations in certain things, right? Ubisoft does a really good job of those like open world, third party adventure games. You might have something like, I don't know, like Bethesda that does a really good job of like kind of the first person RPG type. They did the Elder Scrolls series. They did Fallout. They also are notorious for releasing stuff with a lot of bugs, but we'll see. LucasArts is back, baby. Bring back Monkey Island, Polyhedral. Oh my God, can you imagine? Monkey Island is like an old game a lot of vintage gamers will recognize. Guybrush Threepwood. Yes. It was like a swashbuckling kind of comedy side-scrolling RPG. Oh, not side-scrolling, but an RPG.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really awesome. I loved it. Monkey Island would be amazing. Can you imagine a Monkey Island reboot? That's totally
Are there lots of monkeys in the game?
And Goonies too. Let's not, like Lucasfilm Games did the Goonies games when they came out too. Are there a lot of monkeys? There's a reasonable amount. There are way more pirates, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. 1313 was going to be epic. They scrapped it months before launch. Told the new open world game would be much of the scrap content. For the Star Wars open world one, we're going to get to that in a little bit because we do have some new information on it. And I'm desperately trying to hold my tongue. Oh, Drader, don't know if you missed it. So thank you very much for the sub, Drader. Huzzah. Yes, 3 months strong. Thank you kindly for continuing to support the channel. Much appreciate you, man. Of course, as we always say, we're just happy when you guys come to hang out with us, have a good time, whether it's Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, it doesn't matter. But if you do support the channel, it goes directly back into all the hard work we're doing on making the content better and better and the community engagement even better. So thank you very much for helping us out with that. Yeah. Josh, exclusive rights is never a good idea. Widest selection. Well, in this case, it is. I mean, it's not. Yes. Oh, you mean for EA to have exclusive rights? Yes, absolutely. No, sorry, I'll check that. Absolutely, Josh. You're right. And it did. We saw what EA having like a stranglehold on the Star Wars franchise did to the gamer experience on that side of things. So it's nice to see it back in the hands of the IP owners, we'll say. Intellectual property, by the way, if you're listening, you need that explanation. There you go. Yeah, Monkey Island. Oh my God, so good. Didn't they try Monkey Island Redux? I don't know. I mean, they've done some different versions of it, but not in the recent past. Not with the new technology we have for gaming right now, I think. We can all use more Star Wars as long as Lucas isn't writing the script. Amen. Yeah, I'll back that.
He could just,
getting
watch from afar now.
Yeah, that's right. So alongside of the Star Wars open world announcement, gaming announcement, the one that's coming from Ubisoft, Bethesda also secured rights to produce an Indiana Jones game. We don't know anything about it. The only thing we've seen is a teaser. It's just like a few seconds of a teaser that show the books, the
Wait, you said
iconic
it's
whip,
the
the hat.
same. You said it's the same people who did Cyberpunk.
No.
Who? What have they done?
Bethesda, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh,
Yeah,
Skyrim.
Yeah. So hopefully, they're I mean, the funny thing is, like,
So there'll
Skyrim's
be
a great
flying
game.
horses.
Yeah,
And
that's
the
right.
whips are just going to
Indy's
be
flying
really
horse.
extra long. And
Possibly, yeah, possibly. That's it. I'm Twitch streaming the whole Monkey Island series. Do it. Oh, Andrew, you meant the whole open world Star Wars. Yes. So there was. There were two, actually. There was an open world Star Wars game called Star Wars Galaxies, which I was just thoroughly in love with. That could be a whole other show, but it was very different. That was done. Oh my God, it was Smedley. I remember the crew who did it, but I don't remember the name of the dev studio. Wow. But yeah, it was great. It definitely had its problems too, but it was sunset, I think, back in, oh my God, sunset in like 2011, I think. And then BioWare actually teamed up with Lucas to do The Old Republic, the Star Wars MMO. And that is a really great game. It still is a great game, tremendously beautifully voiced. The problem they ran into is they just didn't support it through Endgame. And for an MMO, you have to have that like after level cap really well considered. They didn't really have that sorted out very well, and they were still developing the PvP. So a lot of the core tenets that make an MMO great, they didn't really have covered. So The Old Republic had a hard time kind of locking in. But I think this will be a much more broad experience. Again, we're going to talk a little bit more about it later, but it is actually massive. It's Ubi's massive studio, which is the same studio that produces The Division, if you're familiar with that game, The Division 1 and 2. And they have confirmed they're building it on the Snowdrop engine, which is the engine that Division is built on. So I think we might see a kind of a look and feel that's similar to that. And then there's Knights of the Old Republic, of course, which is another amazing game that BioWare did too. But that's a little more linear. So we'll see it. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited because I'm really happy to see Ubisoft at the helm of that. But I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm going to talk about that later in the Nerdity Warning section when we get about like nerdy things that we're excited about coming up towards the end of the show. So you want to stick around for that, my friends, indeed. Yeah, open world Indiana Jones. I don't know if that one's going to be an open world game or not.
I hope it's a story.
We really don't know anything about it. I think that one's definitely going to be a little bit more story oriented, maybe with like your traditional flair of side quests and things like that. Nice. It couldn't keep up with WoW. No, like nothing really has yet. No MMO has really taken WoW to task just yet. Seriously, you know what I mean? Yeah, you want to custom build your own Jedi looks, skills, and all. Yeah, I think we might see some of that. Although we don't know. I mean, you can do that in the Division. Who knows? I think there's a lot of promise there.
Drake, I wanted to read that one because
go for it.
So they had to choose between a license for Forgotten Realms and Star Wars. You were employed for them for 3 days. They chose Star Wars, and I was gone. Now wait. Did they choose Star Wars, and you were like, you left, or they chose
like,
Star?
peace out.
Bye.
No realms. Suck it. I'm out. I imagine that you were there for your experience with the realms and with TTRPGs, D&D specifically, right? And is that why it went Star Wars? And but like what you can't. Yeah. Answer that question before I decide how I'm going to rail on about it.
He was let go and you're being rude.
Yeah, well, that's what it said.
Left?
Yeah.
Wait, correct? As
Correct.
in you left because they chose Star Wars?
Or they built another Star Wars team instead of Forgotten Realms team.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Your choice or theirs?
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. Your choice or theirs. But you were close to the sun for that day.
Yeah.
I loved BioWare. BioWare was a great dev studio.
How's the muffin?
Founded by two. It was founded in
that's
Canada.
shitty.
It was created in Alberta.
What?
BioWare.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's a Canadian company.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. You were there for Forgotten Realms.
And then.
See, like, can't you just? But I mean, like.
I know that seems so weird. Like, can't you just?
Do they not consider that you might also be part of the Star Wars fandom and also be able to bring that expertise? That seems a little drastic. That's
Jerks.
unfortunate, man. Mm-hmm. A lot of love for Fallen Order. You enjoyed Fallen Order? Hit your mark?
We didn't play that. That was the newer one, right? Well, newer one.
Yeah.
We should. I've heard it's good.
Yep. What's his name? Callum. Callum is
It looks good.
the hero on that one. Played by the guy who played Joker in
Yes, that's right.
Gotham.
In Gotham.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Great actor, too. Bomber TV, loving the new look stream. Hope you're both well.
Aw,
Yes, Bomber, we're
thank
doing
you.
well, actually. Yeah, feeling good today. It's a Friday morning. What's not to love? Yeah, so we're just talking about Lucasfilm Games and all the cool things that they have going on. But moving right along with lighthearted news, there is some other news that I know Bigly is excited about.
I am, and it's so lighthearted. I'm so excited. Lighthearted as in hockey's back. So I don't care if none of you are big hockey fans, because I freaking am. I'm sure you can hear me when Brad streams on Wednesdays without me.
Sometimes. I certainly can.
So I'm really glad hockey's back. Obviously, there's still pretty much no fans. I think only one stadium is allowing people in, which but anyway, you know what, Trader? I will go for that. Go Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is one of
Pens.
my Pens is one of my other teams, and they were for a really long time. So like I'm all for Pens.
When we're tired of punishing ourselves with the Leafs, we'll usually
that's rude.
We'll shift to the Pens. Because it's fun to see it. No, I'm just kidding. Like the Leafs are doing well. Sorry, please continue.
For those of you who don't know, the season is shortened. I believe it's only 54 games or 56 games for this season. They've condensed it all. They had like a week-long training camp. There was no preseason. And they just went right into games and they didn't play anyone. And obviously, all the leagues are reorganized. So we are in an all-Canadian league. Because no one can travel to the States from Canada, and the States can't travel here right now.
Yeah.
So, excuse me.
But I mean, they're all Canadian anyway.
Yeah, it's true. But I'm just saying Canadian teams.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so it's really interesting. The thing is with this year is that, no, that's my coffee kitty. It's Brad's the thing is with this season, like if you lose a game, it's really bad. It's really important because there's so few games that like if you lose 2 or 3 in a row, it's a way bigger deal than it usually would be. So you can hear me screaming from there.
Yeah, you can hear you screaming.
Time to get back at the Oilers
region.
tonight. Yeah, you know what? And there was a really good game the other night with the Leafs. I am a Leafs fan. Like I don't care if they're doing shit, and you know this about me.
Yeah.
I will watch. If I'm not one of those fans who's going to leave the game. I'm not one of those fans who will turn the TV off if they start playing crappy, because there's been too many times where they've come back around and it's become great.
Yeah.
And everything's been fine. So, it's funny because it's like baseball. What, hockey?
What's
or the season. Yeah, but it's interesting because they're doing the only thing I'm not super thrilled about again is so there'll be 4 teams from each division that are going to be going to the playoffs. But how they're doing that first is they're doing it like how they did the playoffs this year, which I hated. So they're doing that like round robin thing, right? Where there's the teams that already qualified and then they play each other to see who gets in like first place, second place. And then the rest of the teams round robin each other to see who fills out the rest. The thing about that is sometimes there are teams who are most likely going to make the playoffs. Like the likelihood of them, the only way they wouldn't make the playoffs is if they lost like every single one of their remaining games. And this was the case last year. Right? Mm-hmm. And then the other team who was close to them would have to have to win every single one of their games. So the likelihood of both those things happening were rare. And then sometimes that team who probably wouldn't have made it into the playoffs. So that was like, I hated that.
Right. Because I'm like, of the way it was
because it didn't actually, it kind of like negates the season then, right?
Right.
So I don't know why they're just not doing the 54 games and then going straight into the playoffs instead of doing that stupid round robin thing again. Mm-hmm. But that's just my opinion. Pittman, no. But
get your own mic.
Yeah. If you don't like hockey, a sport in which a group of barbarians slide around on a frozen lake trying to smack a small frozen skull in a net. It's quite silly.
Quite silly. I like that take. We're gonna port hockey out for D&D.
You know, you should. Any game could be described like that, though.
Any game could be described as a group of barbarians sliding
Not
around
on
a
the ice.
frozen
I'm just
lake
saying,
trying
though.
to
You
smack
could say
a frozen
yeah.
skull in a net. It's quite silly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the lake
Cricket.
part. Not the lake part.
No, I know. No, but I mean, you're very passionate about this. I love hockey too. Don't get me wrong, but far and above, Bigley is the hockey authority in the household for sure.
To the fact where he put it in our vows.
Aaron, yes, yeah, I had to acknowledge it. I had to bake it into the contract of marriage. Aaron, you're also screaming. Aaron is a screaming Leafs fan. Also, is there any other kind? I do the same. Like I stick with the Leafs. I don't, and I have for a long time. You know, they're a great team, a lot of heart. There's really great hockey culture in Toronto. While Toronto fans can sometimes be the most fickle and unforgiving, but there is really great hockey culture here. So it is kind of everywhere you see. I will say, growing up in St. John's, Newfoundland, before we had the baby Leafs, because we used to have the Leafs farm team in St. John's, it was just kind of like there was a big culture around hockey, but it was local hockey, and then we liked other teams, and there's usually Newfoundland's either usually red or blue, right? It's either Leafs or Habs. And then there's the people who like Calgary Flames, but we don't really invite them to parties based on that merit alone. So, good morning. So we follow hockey, but it's not like being in the city where the hockey is bred from, right? Like when you're close to that, there's a different kind of electricity in the hometown. Yeah. And that brings me to my point, which is like when you have the home advantage, that's one thing that I think they're going to have a really hard time recreating, right? Is when you have home ice advantage, it's less than just like being, well, a lot of it's being close to your home rink. So travel's a thing, like proximity to the facility is a thing. But there's also that electricity in your hometown that a lot of teams aren't necessarily going to get.
Well, this is what I was saying to you originally too, was that there isn't any home team advantage right now, right? Exactly. Because your
I guess
fans,
that's a better way and shorter way to say what I'm saying.
I'm just summing it up for you.
Appreciate it.
There's no fans screaming it or like bringing that energy, and they have like sounds. It's pretty good. You can hear them. Whoever's on that soundboard, kudos.
Yeah, they've done an amazing job of that.
But it's still like you can't replicate the taunting and the booing and like the like chanting the other team goalie's name consistently, you know?
The
you
true
can't,
organic
yeah,
nature.
Exactly. So it's you're losing a little bit of that. So to me, like the only advantage to being in your home ice is you get your dressing room. And that's it. Yeah. Like there's no home team. Yeah, there's no home team advantage.
Your Funko Pops.
Polly, you watch the Caps. Well, the Caps did an oopsie. I don't know if you heard about this.
No,
I'll
please
just
tell
throw
us.
this in with my hockey news. So they have like really strict rules right now, obviously because of the situations around the world. And so when they are not on the ice together or practicing together, they're supposed to be in their hotel rooms and they're not supposed to interact with anyone outside of the designated zones. So Alex Ovechkin and 4 other players broke those rules, and now they've been suspended for like 5 games.
That's it.
And I'm like, he's the captain of the team.
But
like,
you know what? Are we surprised
better.
that it's Ovechkin?
No, I wasn't at all.
Right? Like that kid has always had an issue with like big head, big ego, above everything. I'm not a fan of Ovechkin. I mean, skills wise, I can appreciate that he's a good athlete. But he is a poor sports person, and that to me is just as important, right? In a sport that's flooded with talent, you had to have sportsmanship as well, right? It comes down to class, it comes down to presence, and that's why I've never really had much time for Ovechkin.
Yeah,
honestly.
I think it's funny because Arender pointed out that like. The opener against the Sens, they didn't play anything when the Leafs came on the ice, but like that isn't true. You're right, exactly. That wouldn't happen. This is what I'm saying. Maybe the Sens.
That's a really good point.
So for those of you who don't know, like the Ottawa Senators and Toronto Maple Leafs are both from Ontario in Canada. So it's like the Battle of Ontario always when they play each other, and typically there are more Leafs fans than Sens fans at their arena.
Yeah, it's blue.
And it's way louder for the Leafs than for the Sens. So it's interesting that they're
it's a big bone of contention in Ottawa. Don't get me wrong. And it would piss me off too. Like that would be annoying to me as well. Yeah.
Football, a sport in which a group of cajillionaires chase each other around a field with an inflated hog while trying to get into each other's end zone.
Scout
See,
Check,
it's perfect.
keep the D&D themed sports analogies covered. This is great, actually. You know who? Do I? Probably. I made Jesus-shaped pancakes, but I burned them. Am I going to hell? On the BazNBigly Friday morning show where we answer all of your burning questions. No pun intended.
God.
Wah, wah. That's one we don't have an answer for, but I'll tell you what. Let's hope for you because I think I'm going to hell. It's the only place where I'm going to know people. Points. Yes, indeed. And you're already there. You think this is hell? This is the internet version of hell right there. You watch the Caps because of where I live. I've liked the Caps as a team for a while. Like I don't mind the Caps as a team. There's something about Washington.
Yeah.
I just like the culture there too. So if they're your team, that's awesome. And if you're a Caps fan, you have to be behind Ovi at least on a skills level. But like I said, I think a lot of times he's shown that he needs a little bit of help in the division of class. I would say, like I said, sports person like. Yeah, that opener. Definitely interesting. Big oopsie. They switch out players way too much. Hockey teams become way too no consistency.
I
Teams
disagree.
from season they switch out the players too
I
much.
disagree with
You
that.
mean
I
like
don't
in the
think-
draft
yeah.
and like when they just clarify a little bit? You mean like as far as like trading out the roster and stuff?
But
like
I mean,
that?
I don't feel like every sport does that, right? Like it depends. Like if you want to make your team better, there's teams like, and here, wait. It depends on the team.
I think some teams, some teams are definitely worse.
It depends on the team, right? There are some teams who've had a lot of the same players, but those teams are typically the teams who are in first and second in those ones, right?
Yeah.
They're making the playoffs every year. The teams that aren't, that's what you do because you want to make your players better. You want to get a team that works more cohesively together.
Yeah.
So you have to find that right balance and that right marriage of players that's going to make your team work and get better.
Yeah.
Why would you just keep players who are shitty on your team or don't get along with the coach or don't flow with the rest of the players if that's not going to work? Of course you're going to
But it also takes time for that chemistry to build too, and I can see what Scarshak's saying because that has always been a gripe of mine with Toronto. I feel like they reinvent the roster a little bit too much just without giving the team time to create that chemical balance.
But like,
right?
how much time do you give a team?
Well, but we're talking like season to season. So if they don't win a cup, they're like, let's fire everybody. Come on, 2 seasons ago, that was like. It was like an epidemic. They were just like canning everybody because they lost it at a certain point, but they did really well the whole season. I felt like they were just starting to grow together, and then they, I guess like I feel. Correct me if I'm wrong, Scotia. I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like what that calls to is like it's difficult to really anchor to a team when the people that you love are constantly moving around. Right, and that's fair. It's not like football. You'll see a good quarterback in football might be with the same team for like a decade. Well, that might be a little bit long, you know what I mean? But like years, and you can get into like you can start to really, you can buy a jersey with a name on it and not worry in like 10 months if that name is still going to be wearing the same jersey. You know what I mean? Like, so I get like the Leafs are particularly bad for that. You have to admit, like they shuffle a lot. We'll come back to it, but
this is my topic.
BazNBigly, hello. Yes, but it's a round table format.
I know.
Hello and welcome, FaZe. Hello, how you doing? Welcome. Happy Friday. This is the BazNBigly morning show where we bring you lighthearted news and we don't get irritated when people disagree with us. But we're going to continue on with it. Baseball, a sport in which a group of hill giants use tree branches to hit rocks out of a fighting pit, then proceed to run around the pit, collecting bags while being chased by others in an attempt to get home. I like these D&D versions of sports. We're going to move on from this, but we're going to continue with the athleticism topic. I want to talk a little bit about fitness because it is the age of COVIDicus. And, oops. Maybe this is what I'm looking for. Yes, I just brought up some pictures. This one's not a video, but we did take some pictures of a training space that we created yesterday because I'm going to get real for a minute. COVID has really kicked the shit out of any hopes that we had for fitness for a while. And we had a really great holiday season. but we didn't really watch. We kind of lost sight of our fitness goals, and we talked about this on our social medias and things like that too.
Christmas.
Yes, I know, but it's really easy to use Christmas and holiday as an excuse, isn't it?
Let's not cover it up. Let's not cover it up.
Okay,
it had nothing to do with just Christmas. No, it had nothing to do with Christmas. We both were trying to, when COVID originally started, to try and work out at home and do that sort of thing and be consistent with that.
Yes.
And then it went on way longer than anyone expected.
That is true.
Then everyone either started eating their feelings or working out harder. And we fell on the scale of the prior.
You mean we were not on we were not the working out
harder? We literally fell on the scale.
Grouping?
Like we fell on it.
We fell on the scale. But we got on it. And we just didn't like what it told us, basically. So.
And it just never, like, we tried working on our basement and that sort of thing, and it was not happening. And we'd try, and then we'd get over it. Or, like, there's only so many. I'm the type of person, like, I cannot motivate myself to work out by myself.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a thing I do. And I've always been that way throughout my whole life. For me, specifically, I can go downstairs and work out, but if I'm working out by myself and it's the same freaking basic workout all the time, then I get bored.
Yeah.
And the minute I get bored of a workout, I don't go back to it ever, and I won't do it again. And I just stop.
It's hard to continue.
Yeah, I just
It's hard
stopped.
to stay dedicated. And that's the thing. Look, I would love to pretend I'm one of these people that gets super rah-rah about fitness, and I jump out of bed in the morning and go, let's deadlift. I don't. I need a reason to drag my ass into the fitness, whatever it is, practice, right? So it is tricky, and I'm not one of those people. We're not those people. So it needs to be fun. It needs to be something that we're interested in doing. CrossFit was that for us for a while, because, and we talk a little bit about CrossFit very carefully on the show from time to time, but we really enjoyed CrossFit and what that did for us, because it felt active. It was like, it felt badass, felt really good going in there and throwing iron around, and the culture was good for a time. We just haven't found like a good CrossFit home that works for us. That's less than like an hour away.
Yeah,
right?
and they're all closed now anyway.
Well, yeah, everything's closed, and that's what got us to this actually. So, long story short, we kind of chatted about it. We weren't feeling terribly good, and we can talk real about this. Like, we had gained weight. You know, when you suddenly go into your closet and you have like 10 or 11 things that you can wear anytime, and then eventually you just like don't have anything else to wear because now only 2 things fit you. Mm-hmm. That is a difficult place to be, right? So it's a little telling. So we kind of had enough of that. We said, okay, it's time to figure something out. We used to do the basement thing, but in the basement where we used to work out in that space, there is, I think we talked about this last week, there's our TV, the Nintendo Switch, there's a bar down there. It's just not conducive of being in the mindset of exercise.
No.
But it is important, not only for physical health, but for mental health as well. Like when I'm languishing on fitness goals, the first thing that I start to feel mentally shitty. I get frustrated more easily. I don't have the tolerance for, patience that I need to have. I don't know, what do you think about that? Like the mindset of fitness.
I hate working out.
Yeah.
I do. And I'm not going to pretend I'm one of those people who's like you said about the getting up early and doing this and that. I hate
jumping out of bed.
For me,
I didn't necessarily
working out is purely something that like I have to do if I do not want to get to a point where I'm not happy with myself. And because, like, look, here's the thing. I know lots of girls who are larger than me and are perfectly comfortable and wonderful and happy with how they look. Mm-hmm. And, like, amazing. I wish I could be that happy and comfortable with, like, a way I look typically, right? Mm-hmm. But that's not me. I know what makes me happy. So in order for me to look that way that makes me the most happiest, I need to work out. But I hate working out. Let's be clear. I hate working out. I don't...
Well, it feels like such a chore, right?
Yeah.
It's a slog. You have to make it interesting to you, and that's going to be different for everybody. Major Lewis, thank you very much for liking the stream. Hello and welcome. Happy to have you on board today. Yeah. Gang, if you haven't done so yet, please do follow the stream, share it out, help us get the word out. We'll continue to work hard on it, and that's the best thing you can do, totally free of charge.
Also, I do have to mention Scar Shack's show of hands. We're trying to work off that accursed COVID-15. Is that like, it's like the freshman 15, right?
Yeah.
That reminds me of that. Except here's the difference. Here's the difference.
Just around
when
your
I
waist.
started university, I was way smaller, so gaining that
Oh my
15
God.
pounds wasn't really anything.
Well, do you ever do that thing where you look back on old pictures of yourself where you know you felt fat and you're like, I wish I could be that fat again? Happens to me all the time. I look back on like my college pictures when I always felt like I had a weight problem. I've always kind of struggled off and on with weight. And if you saw I was in like a performing arts college, a triple threat, like robotic, like performing artist boot camp is what this program was. And I was pretty trim and I was pretty shredded.
To the point where we found, when we were cleaning at the garage,
Yeah.
we found a couple of shirts, and Brad was like, oh, this is what I used to wear these to my dance classes. And I literally was like, this is a little girl shirt. To the point where I kept one.
I didn't pay tax on it, and it fit me really well because I was built.
I kept one.
Yeah,
I'll wear it.
and
It's
now
a
she wears it as a
Pokemon
crop
stream.
top, and I'm like, how the hell
I'm
did
like,
I
this
ever
would be
get
a
into
cute
this?
crop top.
I needed like the body version of a shoehorn to get into that, but that's where I was at, and I will tell you, I felt fat. Like I looked at myself in the mirror, and I hated everything about it, and I was dancing for 6 hours a day. FaZe, I see you. We'll check them at the end of the show. Appreciate it. I was dancing for like at least 3 hours a day, more if you include rehearsals and things like that. I was also going to the gym every day. Like I was in the best shape of my life, but no matter what, every time I look in the mirror, I just felt like I was too fat. And now I grabbed those, I saw those pictures and I was like, what the hell, man? I was like, I was thin, and I got really thin. I lost a lot of muscle mass, too thin almost, really, but I mean, that's the reality of it, right? It's like body
I fit into the
dysmorphia.
shirts you owned. Yeah, too thin.
Yeah, I was.
I literally held this.
Slight.
I'm like, I would not like you to be this small.
No. But point being, so we knew we had to do something. So we talked a little bit about MMA training, martial arts training, and the next best thing to CrossFit for me in my history, my sordid history with fitness, was mixed martial arts training. It was the only thing that got me close to, or even would have gotten me further than CrossFit. And the reason is because I'm not just there to like lift weights with the sole purpose of exercising my body because that's what you have to do. I was there to learn like a self-defense mechanic. I wanted to go like semi-competitive, at least intra gym. And I was learning to defend myself. Mixed martial arts was just fun to do, right? So you have to do something that's fun to do, as well as meeting those fitness goals. So I positioned it to Bigly, and I didn't think you were going to be big on this, actually. So what was the shift in you? What got you interested
Bigly
in it?
wouldn't be big on this.
Wasn't even going for it, and there it is. Yeah, what was the shift for you with MMA? Because there was a time where you were kind of not so great about it.
I don't know. I just wanted to have something fun to do rather than like...
Yeah. And why did you feel like the mixed martial arts would be fun for you this time around?
Because punching.
Aside from being able to punch me in the face as part of the program.
Not in the face. I don't know. It's just something like, I don't know, with weights.
I mean, yeah, well, we're not going to punch each other in the face at any point.
I think it's just fun because don't have to like, I don't know, it's not just about, it's not like a set workout. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I was just
more
honestly, I think for me, it was literally just, okay, good. We're not working out in the basement anymore. We're going to do something nice in the garage. I get pretty, look at those pretty freaking pink. Look, I stuck with my damn theme, guys. Yeah. Okay.
Even her Muay Thai gloves
my gloves match my theme.
Are on brand.
Okay. So that's honestly a big thing. I'm like, ooh, pretty gloves, and I get to punch things and kick things. That sounds fun to me. And look, that's a good outlet. I think that's a better outlet than lifting a weight right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And look, weights, if we looked into buying like even dumbbells, and they're ridiculous now. You think PlayStation 5 hawkers are taking advantage of people's desires? Weights are selling at gross prices. Do not buy them from like your Amazons, your third-party sellers.
Marketplace,
you're
that kind
getting
of thing,
absolutely hosed. So we got to work our way up to that anyway. So you're right. I think a big part of it is the space. We cleaned out the garage. We bought the flooring and put the flooring down. It wasn't a lot. It was like $160, I think, to get all the flooring done, which was well worth it. I mean, if you consider CrossFit fitness is pretty expensive, the way that I looked at it is like, what's a gym membership that I'm not paying for now? and then I'll put that towards kind of creating a workout space for us at home. And we put the work in. Actually, just creating the space was a workout on its own.
And it
Gutting
feels
the
like a
garage.
gym now.
Yeah,
Like
and we put our own sweat equity into it.
Yeah,
I guess, so that
and it
makes
feels
special.
like you're going somewhere, right? The problem is when you're working out in your house or your living room or something, that is still your living room. That is still this. When we go into our garage, we walk into the garage and the door closes behind us. So it's like a different place. It doesn't feel like it's our house necessarily. It feels like it's a separate, complete area. It feels like a gym.
For sure. I want
which
to see
is
what
really
Chad feels about that too. Show of hands trying to work off the accursed COVID-15 again. So yeah, we gained the COVID-19 around our waist, and then the second wave was the COVID-15. Gym flex time, polyhedral. That's right, guys. If you do have home gyms or workout spaces, jump on Discord, join us, and I'd love to see the pictures of your home gym setups. Let's do that too. If somebody can throw the Discord link in chat. I think it's actually, let's see if we can. Oh no, we can't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to fix the commands. It should be !Discord. If someone can try that in chat, I just want to see if it works. It might not. We should join us on Discord. Otherwise, throw us a picture of your home setup. I'd love to see it. Sila definitely getting some empathy there. Polly calling it streamer weight loss challenge. I'm about it. Definitely. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Actually, we should do that on Discord. Let's. I'll do that. I'll make the channel on Discord. We'll talk about fitness goals, stuff like that. I think it'd be fun. Because right now I'm just fitness sandwich in my mouth. I'm just fitness sandwich in my mouth.
That's hilarious.
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Polly, yeah, keep you posted on how they work out in your campaign. Are you using the D&D sports analogies? That's pretty amazing. Scarshack, between surgeries and COVID, the wardrobe has changed somewhat. Yeah. And like it's put us in lots of different positions where we don't know how we kind of adjust to these types of things. And then when you bring injury into it, that can really kind of throw some things too. Yeah, I'll have to fix that, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not working.
Sorry,
it's
gang.
Weird. Don't worry.
I'll have to fix that command. I don't know. It just suddenly
It
stopped
stopped working. Yeah.
It's been working for like the last year without any issues. If I could look just as good as I did when I thought I was really fat, man, how we judge ourselves.
Oh, yeah,
Isn't that
it's
the
so
truth?
true,
And
right?
like you just can't see it. We have to appreciate that like we have a version of ourselves that we see. And there's a version of ourselves that the other people see in a good way, right? And it's so very hard for us to look in the mirror and see those good things. And it's even harder to trust that they're there when you can't see it, right?
Yeah.
But they are, and you're all beautiful in your own ways. And if we can get together on a fitness challenge, then anything else is better, right? We're just going to continue to improve. So I think that'd be a great way to do it. Major Lewis, when I look back at my pics and how slim I was, I'm now knocking it off with the daily injections and walking. Yeah, okay, well, that's it. Like, you just literally baby steps, right? Like, whatever works for you. We started just committing to walking the dog at least once a day together for a 20-minute walk, whatever you can. And everyone's at their different pace, right? 7 kilograms in 3 weeks. That's awesome, Major Lewis. Congratulations on the gains. That's wicked, brother. Good stuff, man. So I'm assuming you're down 7 kg, right? That's awesome.
I don't know what that is. What's
kilograms. Oh, so, I mean, you know what kilograms are.
In pounds,
7
though,
kilograms is about...
I don't weigh myself in kilograms.
7 kilograms is almost 10 pounds, I think.
Okay, I have no idea.
Is that about right?
I don't know how that works.
Because there's about 450 kilograms in a pound.
Well, then in England and stuff, they do stones.
Yeah, then they
I'm
have
like,
stone in England, which is something I don't
Is that what they have in
quite
Ireland
understand.
too?
Maybe we're
Ah,
gonna have
shit.
to get savvy with it for sure. You actually do. Yes, yeah. Discord Polly. Shit, brother. Let me see if I can. I'll try and bring it up when Bigley's presenting her next. I'll post the link for you guys in just a minute when Bigley's finished her next topic. And actually, I think that's a pretty good segue. Just gonna wrap up here. Really, I may be fat, but my attitude is sexy as fuck. That's where you start, man. It starts in the mind, and that's what we were talking about, right? Think about how you feel when you walk into your living room and you see your comfy couch and your TV, and maybe you have a little fireplace in there, or some nice ambient lighting. You might have a puppy or a kitten that kind of travels through there to make you nice, cozy, and cuddly. Then how are you supposed to get in the mindset of, okay, now I'm gonna kick my own ass, right? It just doesn't add up, and there's a reason for it. Oh, so it's what, 15.5 pounds? You've lost, Major Lewis? That's incredible, dude.
That's crazy.
Thank you for checking my metric, by the way.
Yeah, so I
appreciate it.
15.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing, dude. I mean, I was impressed to begin with, but that's really incredible, dude. Stay on that track. That's awesome to hear. And with that, Bigley, would you like to please take us to the next topic, which I believe is yours? This is a really interesting one, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
pumped for
so
this,
I've always been super interested in like past stuff and like what our history is as a family. And I
take a minute.
Yeah.
Get your thoughts together.
So recently,
There's no pressure here.
I've always wanted to do one of those like DNA things, like the 23andMe, or I wanted to do Ancestry. And so a family friend of ours actually for Christmas got us a Ancestry.com subscription for like half a year. So I started doing it yesterday for the first time and went on. And I have to tell you, I don't know if anyone has ever used it or seen it before. It is crazy, okay? Like, it's way better than I ever expected it to be. So I don't have a ton of info from my side of the family, unfortunately. Like, most of it is from Brad's side of the family. But we have... So here's the thing.
Why are you having such trouble? Take a second, take a breath. What are you trying to get
I'm
with
just
this?
so excited about it.
So here's the Discord link in the meantime. Hopefully you guys will see that come through there. Okay. Join us on Discord. Drop us your pics there of your home workout, gym system setting, whatever you got.
Yes, and hello, Noor. Thank you for the follow.
Yes, thank you very much for the follow, Noor Chaim. Oh, really quickly, take a minute, get your thoughts together.
You gotta.
I'm going to commit what we do here on the BazNBigly show. We have a little tradition. When somebody new joins the channel, we welcome them with a follow anthem. That's right, a custom anthem tailored to your greatness. And this one is for you, Noor Chaim, if I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, we don't know if it's a name change. We don't know what the game they play, but Noor Chaim in the house, and welcome to the big leagues. Yeah, welcome Noor Chaim 017, yeah. Bringing us all the way to auditory heaven, yeah. Thank you, Noor Chaim. Noor Chaim, welcome to the BazNBigly Big Leagues. You're part of an amazing group of tabletop gaming, video gaming enthusiasts, aficionados, and gurus. Most importantly, the best community the world over, made better by your presence here today. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the big league.
Yeah.
All right.
I got this. I got
you feel
this
good
down.
now?
Okay. So as I was saying,
replay your reel for you.
Shut up.
Here you go.
So as I was saying, we got a Ancestry.com subscription. So basically, what you can do is you build your family tree through the website, and every time you put someone new in, if they has any information on the site, it puts this little leaf beside the person's name. And when you click that, it's either from other people around the world having input information, like stuff they know about their family, or there's like records on there, like pictures, like places where they're buried, old marriage license, registries from churches. Trying to think like what else I've seen. Oh yeah, like travel of like when people arrived in different countries from like boats and things like that. So like, what would that be called? The list things. Registers, right?
Yeah.
There's
registry.
voting info if someone's name wasn't a voter. So basically, I started filling it out for Brad and I yesterday. So my side of the family is a little harder because my sides of the family both haven't been in Canada for as long. So if I go like 2 generations back, on my dad's side, they're in like Romania already. And if we go back 2 generations or 1 generation on my mom's side, really, like it's not in Canada. Like my mom was born in England, and then my grandparents are like Romania and Ukraine. So not a lot of info is coming up for my side of the family. The furthest I got was like my great grandparents. I think I got to my great on my dad's side, but there's like not a lot of information. His side, holy shit.
Yeah.
So Brad's blew up. It was insane. So like I started inputting Brad's family info from like what I knew, and then also some of it, like his dad's side of the family ran a lighthouse in Newfoundland, so I was able to find that information from like who ran it first. And then it just like exploded. So we found out like his great grandfather is from Ireland, specifically from Cork County, and then it's like specifically from like this area. So it was like Waterford and then Wexford. And then we went further, and he has family from Dingle and Kerry, and he has family from Tipperary. So like his side.
Apparently, my family got around the globe a little bit. Well,
yeah,
certainly Europe anyway, or the EU.
There was some questionable
UK.
things about whether some like great grandparents maybe had the same mother.
Yeah.
There was a weird. I just deleted one.
We weren't going to discuss this.
Sorry, because it was hilarious.
Wait, it's back in a time when that was chic.
It was like the 1600s. That's how far back
Right.
I got for his, though. And then on his mom's side, I got to like the 1500s. And they're in like Wiltshire, England. We found out like his family from Lancashire, which is like where my mom was originally like born in that area. Yeah, so his was crazy. And I haven't finished his. His keeps opening up. Like there's more from before the 1500s for his. So I'm hoping, what I'm really hoping is that if I don't at least find anything more on my side, that we at least find some like damn royalty or something in England on his side.
That's right.
Yeah.
I will address this phase. So Kane on Spotify, I'm not sure what you're talking about there. The list that we use is a curated, paid for, royalty-free playlist. So if there's something on there that you feel shouldn't be, you should reach out to the owner of that playlist. Because that's why we subscribe to it, because it's vetted. So just to cover that, because I'm an artist as well, and if there is something there, I'll take a look, and if it needs to come off, then we'll honor that absolutely. If what you're saying is correct. So thank you for the heads up. Yeah, so check your metric privilege indeed. Yeah, I do like I like that it is really interesting when you think about it and you go back into your lineage, into your history, that there are things. It's really interesting, and honestly, it wasn't something that I would be blown away from until you started it, to be honest with you. Yeah, so that is that's something that I feel like it's been really fun to kind of watch you get into. I wouldn't have the time to like go back through all that stuff, but apparently Ancestry makes it really easy.
Yeah, it's super simple. Yeah. Like you can go more deep into each section of it. Your mother and aunts are obsessed with this. They all talk. They think they've traced our line back to a single-celled amoeba.
Thank you for the save. I appreciate the backup.
That's hilarious. It's really cool though, because basically you have a whole area where when you put the name in and you click the little leaf to give you hints, it's either other people's family info that they've put in, and so maybe you'll find some like long lost cousins, and then you have your other info areas where they have, like I said, the marriage certificate, so you can like review each thing. And then while you're reviewing it, you can say whether or not it is like applicable to that certain person. Because some of them aren't. Like some of them were in the US, and I know that person had never lived in the US or gone to the US, so I can immediately say like ignore it. Some of them I'm not sure about, so you can put them in like a maybe section, but it's like super. I didn't like look up how to use it.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
Well,
it's
you
just
said it was pretty
easy.
intuitive.
Yeah.
Luna Seconds, thank you very much for the follow. I'm not sure. I've seen that similar name come through, and I believe it's a bot. So I'm not going to sing to a robot unless you can let me know in chat that you are, in fact, living, breathing, and interested in the wonderful things we do here. In which case, I will happily regale you with a follow anthem. Mr. YouTube number 3, thank you for following Bigly and me. Welcome, Mr. YouTube, to the show. Yes, welcome, Mr. YouTube 3. You're part of an amazing group of tabletop gaming, video gaming enthusiasts, aficionados, and gurus, and most importantly, the best community the world over, made better by your presence here today. Thank you for joining, and welcome to the BazNBigly Big Leagues. Pleasure to have you on board today.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, basically, it's interesting. Like, when you're following through with it and you see different last names pop up, like one of the last names that popped up in yours sounded like a very like Jewish last name.
Yes. Yeah.
And which was funny because like
it was Cheeseman.
Yeah, it was Cheeseman.
Cheeseman.
And my dad's side of the family is Jewish, and I was like, oh my God, Brad, what if you're Jewish? He's like, am I Jewish?
Happily.
And I was like, how funny would that be?
Bring it on.
And technically it was from a mother, so he would actually be more Jewish than I am because it's from my dad, so technically I'm not.
Now that would be a power shift in the household, I'll tell you right now. But yeah, no, it really is. It is wild to go back further and see where all this stuff kind of comes from.
Yeah.
Especially, I was really pleased. It's funny because all I was through my youth, I guess, people say like, where are you from? And I would say, well, I'm like Anglo-Irish, because that's what like everyone in Newfoundland is at some level. But to find out I've been right the whole time is even better. Especially as a man, because what we do is like we really commit to our arguments. We don't always know if we're right, but we're damn well committed to it, and we get really excited when we find out we were right the whole time.
Yeah. So one thing I'll tell you, which I haven't told you yet. So I did a little research on your great grandfather who was from Ireland. So his last name, I was like, it doesn't look very Irish though.
Right.
So I looked up the last name, and it is a Norse last name.
Oh, really?
Which means you were like Viking.
So I'm Anglo-Irish Viking.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit of Jewish.
Yeah. Isn't that cool though?
Because
you know how many like Norman castles there are in Ireland, right?
Yeah.
There's tons.
You know what's
so
fun?
Isn't that
Sorry,
cool?
I'm getting excited what we're talking.
I didn't tell you that yet because I saved that for the stream.
That's really great actually. And it's funny because as I was going through the reels to find out like what we were going to put up as you were introducing that topic, Ancestry is talking a lot about like how it affects people to find out these things about themselves. And I won't lie, proof positive, I'm like really pumped hearing this. And I never thought I would be. So when you go back and you find those things, it does get pretty exciting. Joe, thank you very much for liking the stream. Much appreciated, gang. If you haven't done so yet, throw us a follow, thumbs up, share the stream out. Help us get the word out. Costs you nothing, means everything to us. We do a lot of our hard work, and we'll continue to do that for you. So thank you very much. Norshame, yes, you said you didn't want to interrupt with that, but then you did twice. So what is your question, Norshame? We're interactive. It's not about interrupting, guys. We have this flow to the show we're going to stick with, but we're always happy to talk to you.
And we'll always go back and answer.
Our audience interaction is number one. So what's your question, Norshame?
We'll always go back. If we don't answer right at the very second, we'll always
so you
go
don't
back
have to keep
over.
spamming. We don't have like 1,000 people in chat where you got to keep reiterating. We'll get to it eventually.
But yeah, so
Dingle. Yes, Dingle is gorgeous.
Dingle's so beautiful though. In case you don't know where Dingle is,
Ireland, my heart.
It's the very, very, very far west tip, like northwest tip of Ireland.
That's over there.
And it's gorgeous. It's in County Kerry.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's super pretty. So yeah, if we find out anything else cool about our families, mine is harder because my grandparents were in Europe and it was war times. So finding like information on their parents is going to be very difficult. I did find my Oma, my mom's parents on there, which was pretty cool.
That's really cool.
But there's no other info on them.
Yeah, like your family history is shrouded in mystery.
Well, and I don't know if I'll find anything on my grandfather on my mom's side because we're fairly certain he was like some secret cop undercover during the war, like against the Nazis.
But if we do find out, we'll tell the internet.
You know. We'll definitely let you know because he was very quiet and he's passed away now. So like now we really won't know. So we'll see what we find.
Jennifer, thank you for liking the stream. Much appreciated.
But yeah, so that's that. We'll let you know. It's super fun. If you're thinking of getting it, obviously, like it was a gift to us. I know it can be pricey, but I know they have deals and things all the time. So I would say try to see if you're interested in it. Watch for their deals from Ancestry. Like sign up for their email list because they do have deals all the time for sales and things like that. And maybe you can try it for a month free and then go into that. So yeah, highly recommend it. I still want to do the DNA one at some point because I think that'd be cool. And
sorry, FaZe, I'm going to come back to that because I think I misunderstood you earlier. So yes, let's reiterate. Thank I'm all mixed up. I'm going to thank Jen for liking the stream again because that's what I was going to say. And like I said, men, we commit to things, whether we're right or wrong, sometimes to a fault. It's a problem, okay? Drader, my mother and aunts are obsessed with this. You read that one?
Yep.
I think they traced our lineage back to single-celled amoebas. Now I do remember.
Yeah.
It was so funny, though. I wanted to read it myself so I could pretend that I said it and laughed at it. There you go. Royal Baz, I wish, fingers crossed. Keep digging, Bigly. Keep digging. And eventually we'll find the gold in my lineage, I'm sure. Or more heinous shit that I wish no one would ever know about. So that's your spot. You're telling me that this is one of your songs that is not DMCA. I got you. So you're telling me you want me to go check out your stuff? No problem. Like I said, I'll check the whispers and then we'll go back over gladly. Happy to check out your stuff. Awesome. Norsham did come back with, okay, so let's take a look at this. Yay. Okay, so basically I'm currently writing a book, and I'm in this part where one of the characters, who's a girl, is actually trying to confess her love to a boy in a flirty way. And that boy doesn't even, I can already tell you're asking the wrong people. That boy doesn't even know that she fell in love with him. Despondently speaking, I can't think of any romantic dialogues. So are you looking for a way for her to confess her love for this boy in your book?
Keep it natural.
Yeah, just think honestly.
Yeah,
and maybe like,
don't think about like romantic dialogue, because like realistically, no one talks that way, right?
Yeah, keep it real and organic.
Yeah, keep it
honestly.
organic. I mean, unless it's like, if I don't know what type of book it is, if it's like fantasy or if it's where it's based, but if it's based in like more like modern, real, everyday, any in the 1900s, then I would say like keep it real.
Yeah.
You know, don't overthink it. I think that's the thing. Like, I've written scripts and stuff before, and you've written for D&D and stories and things like that.
Yeah, do a lot of
the
writing.
thing with writing is like, don't overthink what you're writing, right? Just get something down, and then you can always go back and tweak it, but like do what comes natural, right? Like if someone's trying to confess their love to a boy in a flirty way, the flirtiness doesn't necessarily come out in the voice.
I'll tell you what, just on
like,
that last one, it's a fictional book, and it takes place in the 1920s. Watch some it's really hard to say because we don't know what the flavor of your book is. We don't know what the tone is, like if it's kind of something where a smarmy comedy might work. But try and draw it's inspiration is important. Don't steal, of course, but we all draw inspiration for things. So if you want to watch something where a lot of that's happening right now, I would say Bridgerton. It's not quite the same period, but watch Bridgerton and see how they interact with one another, because it's almost exactly about what you're talking about, and it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it is.
So check out Bridgerton on Netflix. Watch at least the first couple of episodes if you want to see some really good kind of romantic, but also the duality of like being in a relationship, not being in a relationship, maybe not realizing in that unrequited love.
Yeah, that's
really good
true.
sample for you. So start there, and hopefully that helps.
Yeah.
But congratulations on the book. I'm glad to hear you're writing it, and keep us posted on how it goes. It's
cool.
awesome. With that, we're going to pop into the next segment. That's right. We are moving on from lighthearted news, and we're going into a segment that we call FSOTI. What does it stand for, Bigley?
Funny shit on the internet.
That's right. Funny shit on the internet. And I'm going to lead this one with something that you may be familiar with if you have, the internet. This is the Wellerman sea shanty. So it was originally up to TikTok and kind of picked up from an individual named Nathan Evans. And actually, it's funny. This is a big one to me because I'm from the East Coast, and sea shanties are like in my blood. And it's funny, you see this thing kind of evolve. It's less funny and more funny about how it played out. So the Wellerman shanty is actually about a whaler crew boat that goes out, and it's about this mythical. It apparently originated in New Zealand, actually. So when we think sea shanty, we tend to think like Irish, Celtic, Nordic, right, Caribbean. But this apparently originated in New Zealand, and it's about a crew who goes on this kind of perpetual whale hunt, and there's a lot of references in the song. Effectively, the idea is that they hook this whale, the whale takes them on a ride, and they can never uncouple from it. Like, they never bring the whale aboard, so they're stuck in perpetuity, just riding this whale, trying to catch it forever and into the endless depths of time. That effectively is what the shanty's about. And I think it was cool to kind of look into that, because this thing has gotten absolutely huge. And not a lot of people understand like the history of the sea shanties or what the Wellerman is or what the stories of the song is. And sea shanties really are stories set to music. It's become a really cool thing where everyone's duetting and contributing.
Oh yeah, if you have TikTok
or something like that,
it's nuts.
Or
right?
you can just find it anywhere now. It's literally if you type like Wellerman, or even if you type sea shanty, you'll find it. It's but it's become more about like people overlaying their own thing.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's the nature of social media. I cop to this. I mean, it becomes like, what's your contribution to it, or what are you doing with it? But I want to make sure that as a sea shanty and something that's so culturally infused, we don't forget the stories of it, because shanties are exactly that. A shanty is a story set to music effectively. And they weren't musicians like we see kind of pulling together. They were just people who could carry a tune.
Well, like that movie we watched about the guys in Wales. No, where were they? What's the movie we watched? It was literally about all they sang was sea
watch
shanty.
a lot of movies.
No, the one specifically about the guys in England.
Oh, right. And it was a choir, and they did sea shanties, weren't they? They were miners, weren't they? Like
no, they were fishermen.
They were fishermen. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I don't remember it. I don't remember the name of it. Oh my god, I'm just vaguely remembering.
Oh my god, it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's.
That's right. And
shit.
Oh my god, and who's in it?
Well, it's the guy who was Mark Antony in Rome.
Yes. That's who I'm picturing.
So
and
basically, it's about these
right.
guys in England on like the west coast of England from like a really small town, and they're like a singing group, and they sing sea shanties, and they're fishermen during the day. That's their job, and they're a real group of guys. Like, and this music, these guys go there on like a bachelor party, and one of the producers. They like joke about signing them, but he actually gets so invested in them.
Sorry, gang. Yeah, I was typing. I forgot I can't type on this computer because it triggers all my.
So the movie is called
streaming.
The movie is called Fisherman's Friends.
Yes, Fisherman's Friends. Yeah,
so if you look it up,
yeah, there we go. We're back.
If you look it up, Fisherman's Friends, it's literally it's a group of guys. They're fishermen, and they are like they're a real group. You can find their music on Spotify too, and they're really, really good.
Yeah. And it was such a great movie.
It's
Thank
such
you
a
for
good
bringing that back.
movie.
I totally forgot about it.
Yeah.
And they start singing these shanties, and they're really awesome.
And
they
it's
get
based
huge.
on true story.
And then it's all about like sort of the conflict that happens in the group when the troupe, like the singing group, starts to become bigger than where they came from, remembering your roots and stuff like that. Yeah, deep cut.
Yeah,
deep cut.
there you
Good
go.
pull on that one,
Yeah.
Bigley. Very nice. Yeah, so it's but sea shanties and seafaring culture is so deeply ingrained in my culture that then of course we see a lot of TikTokers and content creators from Newfoundland. They're like, "What are you on to, boys? That's not how she knows. Here, I'll show you how to do a proper sea shanty." And of course, Newfoundland's not going to be outdone by anyone on the mainland. So it was kind of funny. I was like, I could have called that a mile away. I knew that Newfoundland was going to weigh in eventually when sea shanties start to get big. Like, nah, buddy, that's our thing.
Yeah,
Just
that
step off,
Ireland,
stay in your lane.
England, Newfoundland.
Stay in your lane, rest of the world.
Wasn't the guy who originally sang that? Isn't he Scottish or something?
He is Scottish.
Yeah.
He's I think he lives in Yorkshire.
In England?
Yeah, I think he lives in England, but he mentions he's Scott.
Because I remember he's Scottish.
And actually, he's a really great musician.
Yes,
His name is Nathan Evans. He's the guy that kind of started the Wellerman trend. Of course not.
Like,
Nobody does on TikTok, right? I'll tell you, the people on TikTok who do things because they're expecting it to go viral are not the ones who do, right? It's always just that random crap on the internet, which is why this segment is called Funny Shit on the Internet. So yeah, that was my big one, and I loved that like sea shanties are kind of coming to the forefront because we play a lot of cult music.
We do,
and some of them are a little like shanty-esque, you might say. But yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna throw to Bigley. We're gonna move on from sea shanties, but check him out because Nathan Evans, he is a really great musician. But Bigley, you've got something topical and exciting to talk about.
If you watched the presidential inauguration, which I hope you did, you may be seeing now below me Mr. Bernie Sanders. Now, he has been blowing up.
Feeling the burn.
This is the most media he's gotten in so long. So the whole thing is that he dressed so sensible. People were talking about, like, everyone was in suits.
All he did was dress normal for the weather.
It was cold out. Everyone else was like in suits and stuff, and he wore a parka and like mittens, and it blew up. So now you can see like people are putting him in all these memes in different locations. I saw a really good one of him.
Challenge.
I saw that one's so good. It's so funny. I saw a really good one this morning of him at Hogwarts with the sorting hat on his head. It's so funny. And I mean, like, to think that this is what blew up. Like, what made people think, hey, that's hilarious. Let's put him in a bunch of memes because he wore a parka.
Does what it always
look, the one in the office.
In the office, yeah, that's great.
And then his response to it, I don't know if you heard his response, because I was just going to talk about his mittens. They're made in Vermont. And his response to him blowing up on the internet was, well, now you know they make really good mittens in Vermont.
Nice. Vermont's new GDP is woolen mittens.
That's hilarious. I have not seen the Curse of Strahd one.
No, please pop it in Discord.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
there's so many guys. Like,
yes,
go out
Polly.
and just look them up.
Brilliant, man.
They're hilarious. Like, they
that
really
is so
are. It's hilarious. And then, like, Stephen Colbert made a thing about it, and he was like, he's completely bundled up and has no hat on, though.
Yeah, that's right. What was it you said? He said
Colbert said, he's like, don't you know that heat escapes from the head?
Heat escapes from your head. That's key.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
It was great.
And like, we don't always get it right on the internet, but sometimes I really do love the internet.
Yeah, agreed. That was great. That was a
hilarious.
good one.
Yeah, and you know, I have to say, like, Bernie Sanders, that we don't do political really, because
No.
like we said, you know, you can get that shit anywhere. This is for lighthearted news, but I've always found Bernie to be like, either way, politics aside, just like very kind of down to earth, very real, like no nonsense.
He's like your Jewish grandpa.
Exactly. Just tells it like it is, right?
I know people like him.
Yeah. And I think that makes people relatable. So I think that's why, and good for him for like having a good sense of humor about it too, because, you know, there have been politicians in the past when something's gone on the internet about them and their first thing is like to throw a fit and try to bring it down, right? Like, take it down. It's like, okay, boomer, that's not how the internet works anymore.
No, he's hilarious. He's like,
when
they make really good mittens in Vermont.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was my Jewish New York.
When it we'll give it to you. I'm not gonna argue with that.
Thanks.
I do think you know, like, you can't argue that when it's on the internet owns it. That's just where we are today. So
he looked like an old man looking for a
mailbox. Exactly.
It's like walking around.
I saw the one where he was like, they photoshopped him sitting in like the waiting room at DMV, and the caption was just like, this guy just waiting to get his license renewed. It looks so perfect.
I've seen ones where he's been like around the world. So like, even because I follow a bunch of places in Ireland on Instagram, they're like, look who showed up today. It was Hook Lighthouse where we went, and they had him
in Ireland.
In Ireland, like sitting. They had him sitting. I mentioned Dingle earlier. They're famous for this dolphin. They had him sitting on the dolphin statue.
That's it. The internet never forgives, nor does it ever forget.
Exactly.
Even you tweet something and delete it, if it's been up there for a millisecond, someone screenshotted that shit. So just be aware. But I will say kudos to Bernie, because in the time of pandemic, when none of us can leave our houses, he's managed to get around the entire world in less than a day, and space. So good on you, Bernie. Keep doing what you do. And with that, we're going to jump into our final segment. That's right. We are talking about, or rather, this is your nerdity warning. Yes, we're going to go deep into nerd culture. We're going to go deep into nerd culture, talk about some of the things that make us tick. And of course, if you have any questions or anything you want to add, then by all means, please do let us know. Weigh in on the conversation. Nicole, thank you very much.
Nicole.
That's really sweet. Thanks for swinging by. Good to see you. Good to see your name virtually across the interspace. Pleasure. Hope things are well with you this Friday morning. This is the BazNBigly Morning Show. And by the way, gang, if you're just joining us, we do this every Friday morning. Of course, Bigley and I stream between Wednesday and Saturday every week. So please do throw us a follow, like the stream, share the stream out, like the page. It all helps. Zero cost, means a lot to us, and we'll keep working hard on it. So the final segment of the show is Nerdity Warning, where we get to showcase some of that stuff. I'm going to kick this one off because I want to talk a little bit about a title that came out recently. It's called Cyberpunk 2077. I don't know if you guys have heard of it or if you're familiar with it. Yes, it's Dong Simulator 2021. Now, Cyberpunk 2077 didn't actually release in December last year. Why? Because it's been out for about 4 years. Not in the video game format, but in the tabletop role-playing game format. That's right. Cyberpunk 2077 really started as a game in the TTRPG space. So there's a complete tabletop system that goes behind this that really kicked it off, and a lot of gamers don't know this.
What?
And this was kind of cute to me yesterday because I was streaming it over on Squad, where I do the morning stream host, And
Sorry,
it
my
was,
face, because I'm like, what?
yeah,
the
see, Bigley didn't know that. This is exactly the response that I've gotten. A lot of, and somebody brought it up. I was like, oh yeah, I know. He was like, did you know that Cyberpunk, this isn't the first Cyberpunk game, there were 4. I was like, yeah, you're talking about the TTRPGs, and the person in chat was like, wow, that's like not a lot of streamers know that. And I guess I took for granted that it did come out with a system very akin to like Dungeons and Dragons, Shadowrun, your GURPS and all those other TTRPG systems. Cyberpunk had its own system for a long time, and there have been 4 iterations, and actually they're getting ready to launch Cyberpunk Project Red, or the Red set, which is the new version, like their new edition of the Cyberpunk tabletop role-playing game. So you can participate in an adventure that takes place in Night City. You can go up against the Asuka, I think, corporation. And you don't have to go through a dong simulator in character creation, and you don't have to deal with Keanu Reeves' bad acting either. So, but that's much love for silver fan fans out there. Don't at me. So, but I thought that was really cool, and I thought it was worth mentioning because Cyberpunk has become a huge phenomenon now. Not necessarily for all the right reasons, but it has done pretty well. And because of that, we wanted to, I just wanted to mention it today, that it has its roots in tabletop gaming. So that made me think, like, what do you think? Would you participate in a TTRPG or an adventure that takes place in like cyberpunk and like dystopian futuristic society a la Cyberpunk?
Me?
And this is very like Blade Runner-esque. Yeah.
No.
So for you, for example.
For me, I 100% wouldn't. I don't like TTRPGs that aren't fantasy based.
Okay,
like
fair.
medieval fantasy based. I'm not a huge fan of the like steampunk ones, or like I'm just like things that are too close to like our normal. I don't.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but I don't know that I would say Cyberpunk is pretty close to our normal.
But like,
maybe
but
the dystopian part, but
they're humans mostly in it, right?
Yeah,
It's
that's
pretty
true.
much
There are
all
no
humans.
it's
not like
do
people
elves,
like what they have guns? Do they have
halflings, stuff like
superpowers? Do they have magic powers?
kind of, yes, but it's very tech
based.
Yeah, it's very tech based.
So for me, I don't want tech based stuff because we have tech based. We can get to tech based stuff in the future. I don't want to play games that are like
it's a world that you can see at
yes,
some point, and
exactly,
it is
right?
that, yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't like doing
That's fair.
that. I like playing games where it's like complete fantasy. Complete.
Right.
I like
You're thinking the more like the trope. I don't want to say trope
Yeah,
because
no,
it has a
say
negative
it.
connotation,
No,
but
I
like
mean,
your
it's
trope,
fine.
your fantasy setting.
Yeah.
You like your
I like
mountains,
magic.
forests, caverns,
Yes.
dungeons,
Yes.
dragons.
I like
gold,
pretty unicorns, magic
Right.
dragons,
Yeah, sure.
magic elves.
Which is totally fair. I mean, that's how a lot of people are interacting with the sport of tabletop role-playing game now, right?
So for me, when I'm playing a TTRPG, that's the kind I want to play. I have nothing against anyone else playing all the other kinds.
Of course not, no.
But I will not play the other kinds just
Because
I know
it's just not your flavor, and that's
no,
what got
and
you
like for
interested
me,
in
look
TTRPGs.
at for me when I'm making a character, I like to make characters that are very fantasy based. If you know,
Yep.
right? I don't make characters that are like really human-esque, right?
Yeah.
They're always fantastical in
Yeah.
some way, right? So, just not for me.
Okay, that's fair. Drader, you have the 1988 first edition Cyberpunk 2077 still sitting on your shelf. Never played it. Drader, you should please post a picture of that in Discord. I'd love
That's
to see
crazy.
it. And gang, actually, if you have interesting stuff, jump on Discord, post it. I would love to just share it out over our Twitter and our channels as well. We'll tag you up in it as well. Nogi, welcome. Hey, Nogi. Just missed the speaking of Nogi. We were talking about MMA and training earlier. Nogi is like or I don't know if this is how it applies to your name, Nogi. I don't want to make assumptions, but when I see Nogi, I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So Scarshack, you've been enjoying the game on Xbox One, still little to no issues. And that's good to hear because Xbox One and PS4 were the consoles that were hit hardest by the Cyberpunk 2077 video game as far as the bugs are concerned, the game-breaking glitches and things like that. I seem to hear more about it coming from PlayStation 4 players than Xbox One players, and even less so for next-gen Xbox Series S and X and PlayStation 5 users. I've been playing on PC, and it hasn't really given me much trouble either. So that's kind of my position on it. A lot of really great systems getting calls out to you. Uncle and Cousin worked for FOSSA, so you like Shadowrun. You had to like Shadowrun. There are a lot of Shadowrun's fans fans out there too. And just as we can see in chat right now, a lot of people talking about various systems, Star Wars RPG, the Fantasy Flight setting, which is probably, honestly, if I branch out of D&D, it'll be Star Wars RPG from Fantasy Flight games. That's something that I would absolutely get into, especially as a GM.
Yeah, well, and look, here's the other thing. We did do a one-off Star Wars.
Yeah, we did a May the 4th. It was a D&D 5e
right,
skin,
which was
though.
fun.
Yeah.
But like, I played an Ewok who only spoke
Ewok. Made Ewok
right?
sounds. It was hilarious.
It was hilarious, but like,
yeah, it's a good time.
I couldn't do that. Like, I wouldn't want to play it more than one.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
That's fair. Yeah. So we've covered it bigly. No trolls, magic, gold, dragons. You're out. Numenera is another one I'd like to. So hit your mark. Geek News. Mira Furlan, Dylan from Babylon 5, and Danielle, the French woman from Lost, just died.
Oh.
That's unfortunate. Sorry to hear that.
remember her.
I was actually introduced to her. This is a weird one. Here's a deep cut.
I know her from Lost.
I started playing Elite Dangerous, which is a space exploration game. Freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Check it out, and if you do, add me because I'm having a blast in it. And there's a third-party program called Voice Attack that I use to like speak to my ship. So I speak to my ship responds with AI, and you can get voice packs. And one of the first voice packs I got was voiced by Mira Furlan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I love her. She is Celeste is the name of her AI, and I love her. I use her as my number one. Actually, she's my number one on the ship. So that's but yeah, that's unfortunate to hear. Rest well, Mira. You will live on in our minds.
I only know her from
our
Lost.
fandoms.
I know her from Lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, as
Gotcha.
Danielle.
Sila Bigley, you are fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
I'm the one that has to deflate her later, so please be kind. No, I just
fantastic.
I agree. Not that my opinion counts. While I prefer fantasy style gaming, I play in a cyberpunk style game. Shadowrun and D20 Modern were the last romps in that genre. I really do like it. I do like it. I love that dystopian. That's what keeps pulling me back into Cyberpunk 2077 is that ambiance, right? It's the feeling of the world. It does have its glitches. They've done a tremendous amount of work, actually, because I know there was a point where Bigley, and I'm sure most of chat were tired of hearing me gripe about it when I first started playing it at launch, but they have cleaned up a lot of stuff, and they are constantly patching in new fixes. So
yeah.
Kudos to CDPR. They owned it. They had to own it, and they've stuck with it. That's the key. Because, I mean, it's one thing to put out a bunch of press releases to apologize to the fan base, to say you were wrong, but you're still collecting millions and millions and millions in retail sales. So what are you going to do now? That was my question, right? Like, okay, but let's see you follow through. And they have. They haven't walked away from it. They're still planning some more expansions, DLCs, and inclusions, and they're continuing to work hard on correcting it. So they've got a couple of big patches planned for just January and February, but I won't go too far down Cyberpunk 2077. Maybe next week on Nerdity Warning, I'll talk a little bit more about different TTRPG and tabletop role-playing settings as well. Get caught up with Kat really quickly. Love the show. The eye candy brought me here. Whatever works, Nogi. Welcome. As long as we keep it respectful, it's all good. That's the genre you played in Ravenloft. There's no place like home. I love Ravenloft too. That gothic, dark setting. We'll go to Ravenloft at some point for sure in some game because you've never played in Ravenloft. That's Barovia. That's where
I know. Yeah.
You
That I know.
familiar with it?
Yep, I know.
A lot of fun. Really great there too. Numenera sounds like a lot of fun. Your old D20 Modern character was a virtual street artist that projected his art on the surrounding billboards in the city. Was also an information runner, a la Johnny Mnemonic. Very nice.
That's
very
cool.
nice. Yeah, that is cool. Sent Weird Waldo. I mean Cyberpunk. Bloodborne. Oh, Bloodborne, the board game. We should talk about board games. Come on, games. That stands for Cool Mini or Not. I'm a big fan of their stuff. And Zombicide.
Oh, they do. Okay,
Massive
okay.
Darkness.
Yeah.
Miniature-based games, tile builder games. A lot of fun.
Yeah, we love our
and
Zombicide.
that could be a totally different topic on its own. But I don't want to hog all the time. And I know Bigley has a topic that she wants to get into that I know you're excited about. So Bigley, what's good for you in this regard?
So I'm going back. So I want to talk about Ocarina of Time. And you're probably wondering, why the hell do I want to talk about Ocarina of Time?
Also, don't adjust your sets. What you're seeing on screen, that is the frame rate of original Ocarina of Time. Go ahead.
So I was looking up. I've been watching a lot of Zelda videos lately because I've been playing Breath of the Wild, and I found a really interesting one that came up for Ocarina of Time. So Ocarina of Time, I'm still gonna say, is still one of my favorite games ever. I don't care if it's old and was N64. I know a lot of people are asking for it to be re-released on like the Switch. Of like a remastered version, and I really hope Nintendo does that this year because this is like the 20th anniversary, 35th. I'm so wrong. Of
35th anniversary
of Zelda. So I hope they do something big this year other than just Breath of the Wild 2. So, because let's be honest, you think Zelda, a lot of people go back to Ocarina. So people were talking about how like most of the games are pretty sad. The story of Link and what's happening is sad, except people are like, oh, but in Ocarina of Time, it's not as sad. He starts as a happy kid. He goes, he kills a bunch of bad guys. He defeats the bad guy in the end and then gets to go back and relive his childhood. So watched a really interesting video that was all about how it's actually the saddest Zelda story in all of the Zelda stories.
Really?
Yeah. So basically it goes into how it follows this Japanese religion called Shintoism, which Star Fox is based off of it. And what?
I'm just really impressed with you right now. I'm constantly impressed with you, but especially right now. Please go ahead. I'm so here for this right now.
Yeah. So basically Shintoism is like, it follows the idea of there's many gods, and all those gods have to do with making things like to do with nature, and it's everywhere basically. They're all around you, and there's a lot about purification and things like that. So in this game, it makes sense because there are multiple gods in the game, and also that Link has to go around and like purify the land at the beginning when he's a kid. He has to go and purify this area, and he has to go and purify, the woodlands, and he has to go and purify the waters, and it's about staying true to yourself and all of that. So he gets to grow up, right? He uses the Master Sword, ends up becoming an adult. And the whole thing about it being one of the saddest stories is that he loses out on his childhood, right? He lived in Kukuri Forest, and he had his fairy friend, right? Navi, because all the Kukuri get fairies. He didn't have one for a really long time. We find out later it's because he was not actually from that forest. He's actually from Hyrule.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is why he can grow up. The minute he leaves, his childhood gets left behind. There's this whole thing about his childhood getting left behind in the forest. So he grows up and basically defeats and fights Ganondorf and defeats all these terrible things. And then at the end, Zelda says she's going to send him back to relive his childhood, which you think, oh, how nice.
Sounds cute.
Right?
At face value, yeah.
But when he gets sent back, what you might not remember is at the end, he gets sent back and Navi leaves. His fairy leaves him.
Okay. This is all in Ocarina of Time?
Yes.
Wow, I don't remember any of this.
So his fairy leaves him, which means he can't ever enter Kukuri Forest again, because you need your fairy to enter.
Yeah.
Which means he has now lived as an adult, got sent back with all his memories of being an adult, got sent back in time to a better time where now Ganondorf isn't a thing or isn't a problem. His fairy leaves him, so he can't live his childhood.
Oh,
so his childhood is completely... So then
deep,
Link has to live, like young Link, then has to live out the rest of his days, having defeated Ganondorf, lived his adult life, gone back so he can live his childhood, can't actually live his childhood. Right? His innocence has been taken away from him. Yeah. His fairy leaves and has to live in a world where no one remembers the deeds he did.
Wow, that's crazy. That is deep. And the writing has always been good around the Legend of Zelda series. But I guess it's funny. I always thought I played through Ocarina of Time, but when I hear you talk about it, I don't remember any of that. And I don't think it's just like the fact that I can't remember anything. I think it's mainly that maybe I didn't play that title actually. Thanks for the recap.
There's so many, and with Shintoism, it all follows that you're supposed to have this innocence to you. You're supposed to have this you're supposed to be pure. Yeah. But when he gets sent back, he isn't anymore. You're supposed to have that innocence of living out your childhood, and that gets taken away from him.
So that's really interesting on the culture of it too. Right?
Yeah. Nice. So if it gets sent back, you think, oh, how nice, and then Navi's like, bye, and leaves.
Yeah. Bye.
And leaves, which means he can never go back to the forest. So he has to live his childhood life out in the world, remembering all the deeds he did.
So he's sent back to a better time, but he remembers a better time for him that he can't get to, type thing?
Well, he remembers all the deeds he did. He remembers that he saved Hyrule. He defeated Ganondorf. but he's going back now to a time where it's reset. That's
Gotcha.
not
Yeah,
happening, but
yeah.
he remembers all that, and no one remembers he's a hero.
Brutal. It's like how Britney Spears must
It's
feel.
crushing, right? It is. And like, if you go back to all the different games, there's like a sadness element in all of them. But you think like that one ends, oh yay, but it doesn't.
No, yeah, that's pretty
It actually
brutal.
ends sad.
Yeah, it's a sad. So you were saying that is the idea is that
saddest.
they tend to be really sad.
Yeah,
right?
and but
so that is
it,
pretty
but
sad.
the meaning. But that's what I'm saying though.
Good
is,
vibes on your Friday morning.
no. But what I'm saying is that it's usually masked that it's like Ocarina of Time is one of the only games that doesn't follow that same trope as all the other Zelda games.
Yeah.
Right? Of Zelda, in most of the other Zelda games, it's like he doesn't remember. He starts mostly as an adult in a lot of the other games.
Yeah, that's
not
true.
all of them,
Or
but
some
a lot of
form
them.
of, like,
some
young
form,
adult
but he
or-
doesn't
yeah.
remember, or he's an ancestor
Wind
or
Waker.
something. Yeah. What? Fuck Wind Waker.
You shut your mouth for Brady. Not getting love for the Brady comments. I stand by it.
But like, look, you have it that like all the other games, it's like he doesn't remember things. He doesn't remember being a hero. He like even Breath of the Wild, I'm not giving away anything. He starts the game off not remembering anything.
Right.
So like there's no trauma there.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in and then, he finds out more about himself, and that's how most of the other games are. He finds out more about himself. In Ocarina of Time, he starts as a kid. He has lovely memories of growing up in Kukuri Forest.
Exactly.
And then goes through all that stuff, and then he becomes a hero, and then gets sent back, and they're like,
You're
"Bye."
excited and committed to the topic. I love it. Yeah, Bigly Zelda deep dive indeed. A lot of fans of Ocarina of Time as well. Yay, Ocarina of Time scratch. I loved it. You guys big fans of Ocarina? And what about Zelda in general? Right? Is there any Zelda installments that you weren't crazy about? Drader, you have an Ocarina sitting in front of you right now.
That's so cool. I've always wanted an Ocarina to learn how to play an Ocarina. I'm not gonna lie.
Statting it as a magic item for our Bard in a DCC campaign. That's brilliant. Lucky Bard, indeed. Great game, except for that blasted
It's
water
true.
temple.
Fuck that water temple.
The water temple. Whenever you hear it, water temple is always synonymous, right? It's only a matter of time before somebody brings up the water temple.
Yeah.
And we were talking on the Squadcast on Monday about like water levels in general, like how they're so automatically tropey that they inspire frustration and rage in gamers of all levels and disciplines, right?
Yeah.
Hit your mark. I saw a reskin proof of concept for Ocarina using Unreal Engine.
Oh, I bet you that
looks amazing.
Oh,
We'll have to look that up
cool.
after. That would be cool to see. Yeah, Ocarina. Sorry. I got a back poly on that one. Sorry, Sila. Yes, that's crushing. You shut your mouth on for Britney Spears. Jury's out with Breath of the Wild. Yeah, so I think, would you say that Breath of the Wild has kind of redefined the franchise a little bit?
And because also so first off, also there's like 10 billion different storylines for Zelda, and like where does the Breath of the Wild fall? Because there's like the Link, there's a storyline version from Ocarina where it's like it follows the Link who went back in time and his storyline, and then there's also the one from the Hyrule version from when he saved it. So there's actually two different storylines.
There you go. Legend of Zelda
multiverse.
making multiverse
Legend of
cool
Zelda multiverse.
before it was cool. There you go. The OG multiverse. And there always has been that theme. As well as this like playing of like fragments
There's
of
like
memory.
3 or 4
like
different ones.
The theme of fragmented memories is a big one
There's
too.
3 or 4 different ones.
Hitmark still stand by that Link to the Past for SNES is one of your favorite games of all time. And you can grab it on Switch now too. In the marketplace. Yeah, hard agree. Like
I said,
again,
I really hope they bring sorry, I'm gonna say I really hope they bring Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess to Switch. Like
that would be amazing.
I think they should do that this year.
Jen, thank you again for liking the stream. Much appreciate you. We're going to move on because we are going to get tight on time. We're okay to go a little bit over because we had some tech snafus in the beginning. We want to make sure we get through the last 2 awesome topics. But the next one is also yours, Bigly.
Oh, okay.
It's a big one
as
well.
It won't be as long, this one. So I want to talk about Spider-Man 3, and not the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3. I'm talking about the unnamed one with Tom Holland, because every time you look up Spider-Man 3 on the internet,
naturally,
Tobey Maguire comes up.
Because it is the only real Spider-Man 3 that exists currently.
Okay, so now, as many of you know, there's been tons of rumors around this film. Mostly, and I love Spider-Man. I've mentioned this many, many times. So there's a lot of thing that this is going to be focused around the multiverse, because it's been confirmed that Alfred Molina is coming back as Doc Ock, and that Jamie Foxx is also coming back as Electro, and that most likely rumors, I don't think anything is confirmed yet, that I will be getting to Jake Gyllenhaal, but that Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, Kristen Dunst,
right?
What's her face? Who is Gwen's? Oh my God, I'm blanking on her name.
It was Emma Stone.
Emma Stone.
Yeah,
Thank you, Emma Stone.
Gwen.
And also Charlie Cox as Daredevil from the TV one of the Daredevil. He's been rumored to be coming as well.
Oh my goodness.
But those are all rumors. None of those have been confirmed. The only ones that have been confirmed are Jamie Foxx and Alfred Molina. But there's lots of rumors about Jake Gyllenhaal, and I'm sure a lot of people were suspecting this, that Mysterio is not dead, right? That his whole thing is that obviously the last images and that we saw in the last Spider-Man, in Far From Home. In Far From Home is that Mysterio, spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, it's been out for a while, dies, right? And then he kind of like alters what is shown. So you can see there was a poster. They released a bunch of set pictures, and they released a bunch of set pictures recently that
very cool.
That they basically show pictures of like Jake Gyllenhaal's face on signs and things like that, and like he lives and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of speculation that he's going to come back and that the Sinister Six are going to be a big part of this film, and more of that seems to be coming out to potentially come through.
Right.
And Morbius, which is set to come out, has been pushed, but they are very intent on, even though it's a Sony film, there seems to be some connection with the MCU, because Michael Keaton is seen in the trailer, and we know Michael Keaton was Vulture.
Mm-hmm.
So there's obviously some connection, and Sony has a big thing about wanting it to come out before the next Spider-Man movie, which is supposed to be slated to come out at the end of this year.
2021.
So lots and lots of rumors. Drader, I don't know if those set pics were real.
Interesting.
Because I haven't come across.
So Drader's saying Charlie's confirmed there are pics of him filming on set. He won't be suited up. He's playing an attorney.
Because we know he's Matt Murdock. Yeah. But I don't know if there's. So here's the thing with a lot of those. There have been a lot of fake set pictures that have been coming out. A lot of the sources that have been talking about Charlie Cox coming back haven't been like fully confirmed. I don't know if the one you saw was actually a confirmation thing, but there's so much rumor and speculation. A lot of websites have been saying Charlie is coming back, but none of those websites that I've found any of that information on have been like really like I wouldn't take them as like 100% legitimate.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I think like anything, I mean, it's all speculative, right? There's a lot of theories and a ton of excitement, clearly, not just in our neck of the woods, but worldwide. Because Spider-Man, I think, I don't know the stats on this, but I'm going to make a pretty broad statement. I would have to say that Spider-Man must be one of the most popular heroes in the Marvel Universe. And I love that they have just so expertly crafted the presence of the multiverse, because really, like, all that direction that Marvel is taking that's working so well in multiverse right now is it really was kind of set up by Into the Spider-Verse. I'm just going to go out and say that, like, Into the Spider-Verse was such an important catalyst in opening up people's minds on a broad scale to the potential for this parallel universe thing to actually visually exist. It was referenced in the Marvel movies, in the Avengers series of films, things like that. I'm not saying Into the Spider-Verse is the first time we heard of it. It was the first time we really saw it all colliding in that kind of format. So, and I think that still resonates with Spider-Man fans. I'm going to just catch up really quickly.
Well, that's what I was going to do too. Yep. So, Phil Polyhedral mentions about all the Spider-Man movies are Sony films. It's true, but the ones with Tom Holland still fit into the MCU, and Kevin Feige from Disney is involved in all of those, right? So yes, they are all Sony, but the other Sony films that have to do with the Spider-Man villains and things like Venom and Morbius
Right.
and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
they do not have to attach themselves to that MCU because Disney has nothing to do with those. So what I'm saying is the fact that Michael Keaton is in Morbius, that does tie it together. Do you know what I mean?
You're right, because
so
they're actually placing people that are
which is interesting.
The actors then and the characters become the
typically they haven't been doing that with those. Like there's been no link to the MCU, right? So yeah, they're all Sony because there was the whole thing about how they were going to split Spider-Man away from the MCU, which I think would have been a stupid idea from Sony.
Yeah.
Thank God they reached the deal.
Yeah, unfortunately, suits and licenses,
right? So that would be very, very cool. If they are starting to do that, and it seems like they kind of are, which I'd be very happy with because then you can bring those villains like Venom.
It'd be nice to see them
MCU.
do right by the fans for this one, you know what I mean? But I think the dollars and cents are going to feature in the conversation somewhere along the lines, of course. And that's what, we saw a little bit of friction around the Sony pictures earlier last year when around exactly this topic. And they were kind of trying to hold Spider-Man hostage, right? So
I know, you're right, Drader. Yeah, Vulture is owned by Sony. But what I'm saying is they don't have to include him into those other films. They own all of that, right? They could have put
because of the
they could have put, but the thing is they have a deal with Disney though related to all those films that are made with Kevin Feige and all that, right? So even though they own Spider-Man and they own all that Spider-Man stuff, it doesn't mean that the tie-ins are there, because in previous films, like I said, with like Venom and those sort of things, they haven't been there. So the idea that now maybe they can be and will be maybe shows that Sony is like opening up a little bit more to the idea of letting the MCU from Disney, which is so fucking great how it's all tied together. I think so, at least. So if Sony's easing up on that a little bit, I think that'd be great. Yeah.
Let's hope so. I mean, like we're saying, we know what we want as fans. And we have seen with The Mandalorian what happens when the fans' dreams are answered in these entertainment formats. No spoilers. I won't say anything there. But Favreau and Filoni have done such a great job of doing service to the fans that for some reason these big IP owners historically were just really hesitant to do, right?
Well, you're talking about Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah. So we know what I'm just talking about, answering the fandoms through the entertainment mediums, right? So we know what we want as fans of the Marvel universe too, and hopefully we can see the multiple players who exist around that table work together to give the fans something that we'll want too. If it makes dollars, they'll share. But that's the thing, though, they haven't always, because we know that look, that's like saying, well. And it's not like saying, but if we were to consider, let's say, what happened with The Mandalorian and the fan service that The Mandalorian has done to Star Wars fans is only because of fans and not because of money. We've seen how wildly successful
I think he's talking about Sony.
Yes, no, exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But that's the thing. Some companies, like if that's the case, they can't see past that, right?
Yeah.
They can't. It's like they won't trust the potential.
That.
Yeah, it's like, well, we can't see the dollars and cents on a spreadsheet, so we're not going to do it. They can't see the potential of what that fan service can do, even from a dollars and cents perspective, right?
Let's be clear. Sony almost ended that arrangement with Disney because they wanted more money.
Yeah.
And the only reason they didn't is, hilariously, Tom Holland made a phone call and fixed things while he was drunk one night.
Tell us more about that. We are going over time for this.
There's a bunch of interviews. You can look them up. He's talked about it on interviews, how he was like drunk and crying, and he made a phone call and was like, "You can't split us up," and it worked. And he got them talking.
Tom Holland is the real hero.
Tom Holland needs to be protected at all costs. I've said it before.
They were scared and protective. Now they see it works. They will do it. Well, let's hope so. And it means whatever it takes to get them there is what gets them there. We're going to move on to our last topic. We are going to go over and we'll wrap up a little bit today. But again, this is a new format for the show. I really like it. It feels good. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it as well. Let us know your feedback on the show, these kind of topics that we're presenting, how we're going about them. We'd love to hear back from you, of course, as a community, because we are and have always been community first. We rely on you folks to join us every Friday morning for every stream to participate the way that we do, and that's what really makes it fun for us. So to wrap up this morning, I'm going to start by talking a little bit about something that we fielded right at the beginning of the show, and that is the open world Star Wars game that has been now announced in cooperation between Ubisoft Massive and the newly formed Lucasfilm Games. So last week, Ubisoft announced that they were collaborating with the newly formed Lucasfilm Games to create this Star Wars open world game. And we've seen flavors of this kind of stuff, but we haven't really seen it like this, or certainly not in the hands of the people who are now involved in making this product. As we mentioned earlier, EA has historically exclusively held the rights to create Star Wars games, and we saw where that went. I won't go back down that path. But Ubisoft is one of my favorite developers, so just full disclosure. But they've always done such a great job on these third-party action games. And the studio that has been enlisted to create this game is actually Ubisoft Massive. Now, that's the studio that gave us The Division and The Division 2. They also developed the Snowdrop engine, which is the framework on which The Division is built on. So if you're familiar with The Division and The Division 2, I loved them. That's what I made my YouTube channel on, was Division content. I did weapons testing. I did skill builds. And I got partner on YouTube because of The Division. So it has a special place in my heart, but it is really a tremendous game. And I think it's in good hands with Ubisoft Massive. Division for me fell victim to a lot of hacking, glitching, and players just taking advantage of it. And then vicariously because of that,
Sorry, the Lando
Ubisoft Massive didn't really quite act
hilarious.
quickly enough to fix those things, and that's what did it for me. We talked on this story about it potentially being like a Mando themed or a Mandalorian themed game. Of course, like anything,
That'd be cool.
there's a lot of speculation, right? A lot of theory crafting, things like that. But how cool would that be? I mean, you can see some of the framework in some of these samples. You think about Ubisoft, who has incredible legs in the third-party action genre with games like Assassin's Creed, The Division, and then you have Lucasfilm Games now taking control of the delivery of their own license, so they're not, headlocked by one studio or another anymore. And we can bring in studios that have specialization in things to give us the games that we want. So imagine like an Assassin's Creed feeling open world type game like The Division that's baked in the Star Wars universe. I don't care what it is. Give it to me. Shut up. Take my money. I'm here for it because I'll do Star Wars anything. I'll give Star Wars anything some kind of chance. But EA has really soured a lot of gamers on it because of their mishandling of the franchise through how they handle like microtransactions and frankly reaching into the pockets of gamers quite unabashedly. All right. And then they just followed up with a couple of misses. So we had things like that kind of threw us. And I think this is a glimmer of hope, not just for us as gamers getting the Star Wars
new hope?
Well done, Bigly. Touche.
I had to.
Very nice. Yeah, we'll definitely allow it. But this is said to be like an open world, more open world type game. So I think it's going to be a little less linear than, let's say, Fallen Order, which while has gotten a lot of really great accolades as a great game, is a linear storied campaign. I think this is going to feel a little bit more like Assassin's Creed as far as story and structure goes, but it's going to play a little bit more. It's absolutely going to play more like The Division, built on the same engine. And if you want a parallel to consider that with, think about how many things use the Unreal Engine, whether it's Unreal Tournament or God of War, I think is also built on Unreal. Like a lot of these games that have a certain feel, that's what a programming or a development structure, a framework, an engine framework does to and for a game. So you can get a sense of that, how it's going to feel, how fluid it's going to be. I'm really pumped about it. We don't know what the theme is. I think people are kind of Jedi'd out a little bit, and Mandalorian has really opened up the minds of Star Wars fans to consider other adventures that are equally fun and engaging without always being about the uber powerful, kind of like the ace in the hole Jedi.
I'd be so down for like playing something other than a Jedi in a game. I love playing a Jedi
because
like, I mean, who doesn't? I mean,
or a
like
bounty hunter.
Well, and here's the thing, right? In the game, oh my God, the online one we played,
the Old Republic,
right? Like I had a lot of fun playing that game, and I played a smuggler.
Yeah, you were a smuggler,
right?
exactly.
So, like,
and I was a commando. I was like a trooper,
I'd love
that could hit things.
That sort of thing to be available to pick more options instead of I love like
now, to
playing
be fair,
a Jedi
I also
is
had
fun.
3 Jedi.
I was gonna say like playing a Jedi is still fun because lightsabers are awesome.
They are. Pretty iconic.
But it would be neat to see kind of them cover maybe something a little different.
Yeah, I like
who
the
doesn't
idea of
want
it
to
not
play
being
a Han
all about
Solo
Jedi.
kind of character?
Absolutely, right. That's the beauty of it. So I think they have. I think I'm really excited for what this means. I don't know. What do you guys think about Star Wars games as they've been? What are some of the ones you've liked? Some of the ones that you didn't like? What are your thoughts about this open world title coming from Ubisoft and Lucasfilm Games?
I'm always a little wary about open world just because I'm not. I like having a story.
Yep.
Like that's my biggest thing right now with Breath of the Wild is I'm like I just want them to tell me what to do.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
But like you're not. What do you think when you think open world?
I think you can like anywhere you can see in the game you can go.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so fair. But it also, like, it can be a little linear, right? I know you suffer from, and I do too, a lot of gamers do, the challenge that comes with having too many options and not enough direction. But I think this, absolutely, from what we've seen with Ubisoft, I believe it will have, like, some kind of campaign element. I think there will be an overarching linear storyline, not just because it's an Ubisoft thing, but it's also kind of like the...
But I hope it's not, like, an overarching storyline that's, like, hard to figure out where to go.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like,
you know what? I don't
Zelda
know that
game
from
has
Ubisoft.
an overarching
I've never seen Ubisoft do something like that. Like, that's why I like that it's in the hands of Ubisoft, because they historically have done a really good job of open world directional story arc, right? With lots of side options and things like that. I think it's going to be an achievement hunter's dream.
Yeah.
And of course it's baked in the Star Wars universe. So how can you? What I'm interested to see is it going to be primarily or exclusively a ground-based game? Because this always comes into feature when we talk about Star Wars games, like where and if space factors in, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not much Star Wars without the stars, right? But a lot of Star Wars games do one or the other. You know, you have Star Wars Squadrons, which is all Fallen Order, which is primarily a ground-based game. So, like, are you an active hero that exists solely on the planet side, or is there an option to fly into space? Can you get your own ships? And this is something that one of the things that Star Wars Galaxies did really well was when they brought in Jump to Lightspeed, which was the space expansion. So that opened the game up beyond like just living on a planet and allowing you the ability to be in space, take missions in space, fly through and explore space, and then travel from planet to planet that way. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we have the technology and we know as gamers that it can be done. So I'd be interested to see what Ubisoft's take is on it. I think we have enough like ground anchored Star Wars games. I would be a little disappointed if it's just strictly planet side, like if we can't get into space somehow or play there on some level. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. And the rumor mill is already spinning like full
as
tilt.
They always do.
That's right. So I don't know if you guys are as excited about that as I am. I certainly am pumped. We'll be keeping a close eye on it too. But this is the type of thing, like this is the type of title announcement and prospect that I would put a lot of time and content in and behind as well.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's it for the show. That's our run, and we're just a little bit over, but justifiably so. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's always a wonderful way to start a Friday morning.
Yeah.
Polly is saying, like, go over it. This is a good Friday. That's great. When all is said and done, Holland will be the MCU Spider-Man, and somebody else will be Spider-Man and Sony. Fair enough. And I we don't play favorites so much. I think they all brought something different to the table.
Yeah.
Holland's my favorite by far, and I know that we're on the same page about that too. Nogi, the show is great, wonderful. The only thing to make it better is more smiling to the camera. Nice. Your smile is super adorable.
Aww,
should be
thank
I
you.
agree. Well, you can help us by sharing the stream, retweeting it out, liking it. Tell a friend about the show, the stream this week. We're BazNBigly everywhere on the internet. You can find us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. But as always, friends, it's much more fun when you're here with us, and we'll continue to evolve this format. We're gonna stick with, I think, the topics that were really good.
Yeah.
I don't mind saying, like, this is the first time Bigly's done something like this. You absolutely crushed your topics. Like, you are so knowledgeable. It speaks to my heart, makes me so happy. Yeah, so more of this coming down the pipes. A trooper with good aim. What the fuck? I know it's not really canon, but it can be done there. Peace, Trader. Thank you very much. Here your mark. All of you, thank you so much for joining us today. Any last words, Bigly?
No, that was fun. Thanks
All right.
for coming, guys.
Have a great weekend. Enjoy your Friday, gang. Thanks for being here. And as always, happy gaming. Be good to one another. And we'll see you next time tomorrow morning, actually. 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific time for the Saturday morning pajama stream, the way Saturday morning cartoons used to be.
That's right.
Take us out, Bigly.
Bye-bye.
See you, everybody.